Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the November 26, 2024 Board of Commissioners 6 o'clock p.m. meeting. We ask you this time to please silence all your cell phones and electronic devices. We'll start off with the invocation. Mayor Trimble, would you like to do that for us tonight, please, sir? Remain standing for the pledge of flag.
Let's pray. God, thank you for the opportunity to serve you. Remind us that all of us here are your servants, and impress that into our minds as we think about the business of our county. Allow us to consider carefully your guidance. Please bring that to us. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we want to welcome all the mayors here tonight. Good to see y'all here, and also welcome our Commissioner-elect Jennifer Snelson. Glad to have you. Look forward to working with y'all. First thing we need to do is adopt the agenda. Is there any corrections or amendments that need to be made?
Yes, sir. We do need to amend the agenda. Under unfinished business number 2, we need to remove the dust X wording.
Under which one now?
Under number 2, unfinished business, we need to remove dust X.
Oh, okay. To just scratch it out.
Correct.
All right.
And then also under the future meetings, number 4, that's a typo. We're actually closed in observance of the Christmas holidays on Tuesday, December 24th and Wednesday, December 25th. And that's all.
Anything else?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Thank you. We're going to go right into presentations.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I met with the mayors on November 15th, I believe it was, during a collaboration. They put together a presentation about countywide recreation. I saw it as a very beneficial work on behalf of all 7 mayors, and I asked them if they would be able to present it to the Board of Commissioners tonight, dealing with countywide rec. So with that, I think Mark Trimble is going to present.
Thank you, Commissioners. I appreciate the time that you've given us. Just a little background real quick. The 7 cities, the mayors of those cities have been meeting for 8 months as of November. And everyone wonders what in the world we're doing. Well, a lot of it is a support group for mayors because we have, as you can imagine, wranglings of different kinds that we support each other in those efforts and look for solutions together. So this is the group we have tonight. We do have 4 of us with it. Myself, I'm Mark Trimble. Please stand, man. Come on. Now, introduce yourself. This is
Chris Walker,
Dana Gay.
Josephine Mahomes Sargent, City of Greenville.
City of Greenville.
Robin Feinberg, City of Warm Springs.
Thank you, Guy. And we do have an emeritus member, which kind of tries to reign over the constant talk, and this is Carolyn McKinney and she's actually the sponsor, I would say, with the Meriwether Chamber of Commerce. There you go. So thank you very much. Let's get right into what we're talking about. There we go. So why in the world would we be coming to talk about countywide recreation? Well, because what we're doing in our group is looking at various topics that affect us all. We're on the ground with our citizens. We're close to them. We're trying to figure out, how can we help? What can we do? Can we think a little bit outside the box? So in a collaborative vision, we're really looking at promoting a countywide recreation program. That's been talked about a lot, but how do you do it? That's the key. So you create, and here's what we're coming with, these 3 concepts. Create an expanded palette of recreational opportunities. This is far beyond the big 3. That's what we're calling them. And then secondly, we really were looking to see how do we provide an individual recreational element to every city. And last, we really want to establish, recreation across the age groups. We ourselves often talk about those big three. Well, those are the most difficult to distribute, and they're the most expensive to distribute. But how do we get recreation to begin with across our county? And so why are we here again? Recreational needs are local. That's where the people are. In every single part of our county, they're local. The definition of recreation needs to expand beyond those big three: baseball, football, and basketball. If we do, we find it a lot easier to make things happen. Low-cost elements of recreation, we really would like to see those brought to every city in the county. And that enables us to distribute. You know this problem here. In distributing the big three, here's the population. We got 500 square miles, but we have 20,000 people, a little bit over 20,000 people spread across them. It's a wide expanse to reach with these big three things. But we can solve that if we expand our definition. So expanding recreational boundaries, let's look at that. Now, I've not seen professional cornhole except on TV. I've not played that myself, but those gentlemen up there are dressed appropriately, apparently, for a cornhole competition because they have them all the time. So here you see non-sport recreational activities. That could be a walking trail. That can be chess. It can be arts, music, dance. It can be yoga. There's all sorts of things that we would consider non-sport recreational activities. When you go into the lesser sports or alternative sports, well, I have to put soccer there because it's not in our big three right now. But pickleball, one of the fastest growing sports in the nation this year, coming year, it's expected to be $4.4 billion worth of money in pickleball across the United States. So that's an easy sport that you can distribute. It's not expensive to do that. We're going to look at some places that are even available that we've forgotten about in every city. So volleyball, archery, badminton, table tennis, those are actual alternative sports. And then if we look at adult league activity, you can put any combination of these things. Pickleball is one that's easy to interplay between. When I say a league, I'm talking about across the county. So each of our cities with a facility of some kind, then they can play against each other in the county and not just in the city. I believe there is a cornhole group in Greenville, is there not? Okay, Ronnie's not here, but there is in Woodbury too, I've heard. So they're already starting without us. This is an opportunity that we really can expand quickly, inexpensively, without engaging the big three. So a piece of recreation in every city, that's what we're looking at. So here's some just suggestions. Lone Oak they want a walking trail. Now, they might have to lap it 10 times to get to a mile, but that's okay if it's defined and you know how many times and you have a nice little trail to walk around. They have a spot for that and would love that. Luthersville, practice soccer field, these are just suggestions. The sign up for the big three sports, I think, can be in every city. There's some things that are required as far as documentation and weighing and for certain sports, but that can be done in each city. And then practice fields, a soccer practice field for any age up until the middle and high school. Those are basically a mowed lawn and a mowed front lawn. It's not that big and some very inexpensive goals. So we really can distribute things very inexpensively if we look at it. And of course, cornhole for everybody. That's what I think we should do, but that's up to y'all. Look at the cost samples here. So if we were to look at a chess team from each city, now I'm looking at 5 chess boards for each city. You're at $1,000 for the county. All you're doing is interplaying between teams from each of the cities. This is very inexpensive. Now, if we look at the cornhole that I just mentioned, they bought concrete set for about $1,400. You add another $600 for a gravel and a little ground preparation. You're at about $2,000 each. For $14,000, you've got cornhole competition between every city in the county. So it's not cost prohibitive when you stop looking at the big three. I'm not saying don't do the big three. We're just saying, let's spread our concept of what recreation is here so that we can distribute this across the county. What are the keys to success that we're looking at? First of all, it has to be low cost of installation. That's key to get that many done. Second, low maintenance. General use should be free as far as using whatever is in place, and then charges for classes. So if we actually combined and hired a yoga teacher, then they have 5 different places they can go in a week. And they're in a different city each day. And so this is spreading the cost. It's also spreading the recreational value, whether that's yoga, whether it's a line dancing, whatever you want to fill in there. And those classes would be paid for is what we're suggesting. So let's look at some things that we already have. These are existing trails. The Flint River Water Trail is one. The gravel travel trail is a bicycle trail. The gravel travel trail, if you don't know that one, is actually up around Gay area. There's what?
7 of the trails in your county.
We have 7 trails. Obviously, I don't know much about the gravel trails, do I? We have 7 of them in our county. So these are existing things that we're just not promoting. And the Flint River Water Trail, especially, is looking at ingress into the river and take out places. It shows a complete path as you go through there. These are already existing. Why aren't we hearing about these? We should promote those. They already exist. The town of Greenville, there's places that we've forgotten about. There was softball interplay in our county decades ago. We don't do it anymore. And I understand it got pretty involved. It was a very big league. They were excited about it. Well, we need to recast that. We need to redraw that. We're not saying to redo a ball field. What we're saying is we can put practice soccer there. That's a whole lot easier to put in. So these are kind of hidden little places. Here's Lewisville. You can see quite a few places that are no longer used. In each of our cities, we have places that we can do. I mentioned chess. Every city has a building. There's a community building, a city hall, a recreational building, some kind of building that we could have that team meet now. So this is a cave. And they have the trails, but they also have a city hall there and a library that can hold chess tournaments and a little park in front of that. So Woodbury, of course, has various things, some of them forgotten, some of them not. And then Manchester has quite a few things that we maintain ourselves and are always looking to expand. Warm Springs, there's things forgotten behind the old elementary that are available. That's a basketball court that you don't have to surface. It's already there. So why are we proposing expanding the definition of recreation and a piece of recreation in every city? It provides an inexpensive way to distribute recreation across our county quickly. That's why. So what are we doing? We're trying to expand that concept of recreation beyond just the big 3 and involve people all across the county playing together the different sports and activities. So I appreciate the time. Any questions that you might have of our group? I promised to be short, so I was.
I think it's a good idea. I think it's a starting point.
I think you got a lot of good points there. In fact, what the board has been working on in previous months was hoping to get a recreation director hired to go out and meet. That's one of the reasons why we hadn't organized. We had talked about getting with all the cities and talking about, remember that, John?
Yes, sir.
But we were actually trying to get the rec department director hired first so they can be already involved with all the mayors and cities and conversations to build such a program. And I think we're waiting on some more interviews, but we are hoping to get that filled very soon. I hope we go into 25 with a recreation department director to help build all these programs you're talking about, because these are some of the things we were listing to do besides the 3. But I commend y'all for the effort and what y'all been doing together, because it's a great presentation and it will work throughout the county with the mayor. Whether it's just what we're working now, trying to figure out how to start it and get it going and get the funding for it. And that's I think one of the number 1 goals of this whole entire board is recreation to get rolling.
Well, what we want you to bring to the table is the fact that you've got the 7 cities.
Right.
We're ready to help you and make this happen.
And what's nice about that, is from some of the folk we talked to before, is y'all can also help reach out and get city grants to contribute back into what the county can do, and then we can make it a full knit program instead of just the county trying to provide everything to all the cities. We'll make it a group thing. So if you got anybody working on that or have it, it'd be great if they could start working on that now.
Joint grant opportunities are always better. They love to see that everyone is bought in. So if they see cities working completely, all the cities working with the county, that actually gives us 2 checkpoints on the
Exactly.
grant application. That is not always
Hopefully
there.
we can get a director in here and start working with all of y'all and working with this board and the new commissioner coming on board, and maybe we'll make 25 a big difference.
All right. Thank you very
I
much.
thank you very much. All right, Mr. John, finance report.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, you have the bank balances as of about 3 o'clock today. All the funds are holding pretty steady. The general fund and the investment pool did transfer a little bit of money there. You do see the interest earned out to the right. Just to give you an idea of what interest we're earning in that investment pool, almost $30,000 in the general fund by itself, just by investing that money.
What kind of timeline is on these numbers? Is it monthly?
That was
yearly?
October.
That's for,
They're just in 1 month.
Okay.
The November law, SPLOS, and T-SPLOS came in today. These are accurate numbers as of today. On your second page, your SPLOS and T-SPLOS commitments, their balances as of tomorrow. ER Snail has turned in their invoices for the 2024 LMIG, so I had to move money from the investment pool to SPLOS or T-SPLOS. So that's why the balances are as of tomorrow, because that money will hit the bank. We did take in 1 fire truck from Coweta on 11/21. You have $835,764 in SPLOS available to spend, and in T-SPLOS, we have almost $183,000. And then the LRA money is listed there. Out of the 4 projects going, we still have a little over $500,000 left to spend in the LRA money.
And how we come along on the tipping fees.
Timothy's, I've actually went out there yesterday and spoke to a young lady about another issue, and she told me they're bringing in an average of 3,500 tons a day, and if that's actually the case, then we're not getting our full amount. So I will be reaching out to their account and their director and relaying that message back to them that they're receiving 3,500 tons a day at 20 days, that's 70,000 tons, when we're getting 20,000 tons on our report. So I'm gonna shake some trees and see what falls out of it.
That'd be great.
this law, SPLOS and T-SPLOS looks to be 10% of better improvement versus the prior months.
Correct,
Are there any data points that can explain what that is, or that,
I would have to look on the state website. These are all generated based off of tax revenue, and SPLOS, T-SPLOS, they have different exemptions from both. But I did notice that when I looked at it as well, that they had about a $20,000 increase over the prior month. But
It's a
roughly
good
around
thing.
November, December, they usually jump up with the spending for Christmas.
that's what I was wondering, are we seeing that yet, or is this just an increase in general?
I think we're just gonna see an increase over, because this is actually October's numbers. So we'll see December's will be increased from November, and January, we should see a big increase with December with all the Christmas shopping.
Yep.
Any other questions for the finance director? Move right along. I think we only got one citizen comment. Oh, wait, excuse me, department heads. We got department heads. Any department heads here to speak tonight?
I just have 3 department heads to give you an update on, Commissioner. Yeah, fire rescue, like I said, took delivery of 1 Coweta fire truck on November 21st, so we do have that in-house now. The animal shelter, the Atlanta Humane Society, and the Rachel Ray Foundation have added on to the project, and the animal shelter will begin in the next few weeks. Looks like we may not have to pay nothing or little at all because they're pulling everything together that's remaining for our shelter. And then the recreation, the 8U football team was runner-up in the CY GSA Super Bowl.
Earlier this year, we had talked about the grant and the incinerator and so forth. Did all that ever get started, or where we at on that?
This is that grant there. It was 3, it's narrowed down to 4 projects. We were the only shelter involved in it. So they did the other 3 projects, and whatever money was left over was going to Meriwether County, from my understanding. And they should be starting the 1st or 2nd week of December. Knowing the foundation, they want to be done by the end of December, just to close out the fiscal year.
Thank you. All right, citizen comments. We got one person signed up, and unfortunately, I have to read this at every meeting, so,
Yeah,
Give
two.
him a copy. There's a copy up there, I got two.
oh, you got two now?
Do you need it?
Oh, okay. Man, I'm slacking the night, ain't. Two comments. All right, speakers must contact the county clerk at a.stevens@meriwethercountyga.gov or call on before the dates and times listed below in order to be placed on the agenda to speak. Speakers must provide their name, address, and topic they wish to discuss. For the first Monday of the month, 6:00 p.m. meeting, speakers must email or call before 5 p.m. on the day of the scheduled meeting. For the fourth Tuesday of the month, 6:00 p.m. meeting, speakers must email or call before 5:00 p.m. on the day of the scheduled meeting. Speakers must direct their remarks to the board and not to individual commissioners or to the audience. Personal disagreements with individual commissioners or county employees are not a matter of public concern, and personal attacks will not be tolerated. Speaker will be allotted 3 minutes to speak on their chosen topics as they relate to matters pertinent to the jurisdiction of the Board of Commissioners. No questions will be asked by any of the commissioners during citizens' comments. Outbursts from the audience will not be tolerated. Common courtesy and civility are expected at all times during the meeting. No speaker will be permitted to speak more than 3 minutes or more than once unless the board votes to suspend this rule. The first one we had to come up and make a comment tonight is Miss Elaine Hillier, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just by the way, your Lonoke is spelled Lone, not Loan, just in your presentation. Because I live in Lonoke, so just as a point. I'm Elaine Hillier, I live in Lonoke, 4768 Lonoke Road, right on the main road. I have a concern, I'm trying to get a building permit to add an addition to my house. But I understand from when I came here and presented all the documents and everything I needed to get the building permit, is there's no intergovernmental agency agreement signed between the county and Lonoke. So I went back to my city council and I said, why don't I have a city, why can't I get a permit? So evidently they've signed the agreement. I don't know if there's some discussion about the land, the fire department. I don't know all the details. I don't even know the details, but I'd like to get an intergovernmental agreement signed so that I can get a building permit. I don't think that's a part of any property dispute or whatever. I mean, to me, that should be separate. Maybe it's not, but I'd just like to get it so I can build my addition. Because I pay taxes like everybody else, county and city. So that's all I have. Just if we could see about resolving that with Lonoke, I'd definitely appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
And next up, Miss Debbie Nelson. She's not here.
I don't think so.
All right, she didn't make it, so that ends the comments. All right, under the minutes, the November 4th, 2024 special call meeting, 4:00 p.m. Has anybody had a chance to see if any amendments need to be made to the minutes, or someone make a motion to adopt them?
I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
You got a motion, got a second, all in favor? Thank you. November 4th,
I was here.
what's that?
No, a special call you
Oh,
All right, so I made the motion, he can't second.
Right.
I can.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Thanks for catching that. We have a motion, we got a second, all in favor? Thank you.
and I can if I want, I just should.
November 4th, 2024, regular meeting, 6:00 p.m. Any amendments to the minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I got a motion,
You can second it.
You go ahead.
Second.
got a second,
I
all
won't
in
get in
favor?
trouble.
Thank you. All right, we're moving right on into public hearing. The first, okay, you pages got. Okay. The first one we have is change of license, alcohol license, M. Guest, Hogansville, Georgia.
Going to public hearing.
Huh?
Public hearing.
Got to have a motion to go into public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Well, it's that time of year. It's time for a business license, alcohol license renewals. M Guest House is actually a Korean restaurant up in Hogansville that most people don't realize that they're even there. They've been there for over 10 years. Bo Kim has been the licensee there, and now Sung Kim is going to be the licensee. And so I'm just asking, I've already done the background check with with the fingerprints and all that, and they all passed. But I'm just asking for the approval for Sun Kim to be the licensee for Guest House. They're open Monday to Fridays for lunch at Hogansville. I think Miss Rosal's probably more aware of them than I am.
Absolutely, one of the best restaurants around, but they're just not open to the public. Only special occasions or whatever, but they do serve the Korean population for all the industries up there, so it's a welcome, and hopefully one day they will expand and,
I think they're planning to, but right now it is, but I just need to have approval for the licensee to be.
well, yes and no, is,
If you can get in, you're lucky.
Do they have to get a license from the state like
Yes.
everybody else? So they have a license
Yes.
number then?
yes,
Yes.
it's just a change, I believe.
It is just a licensee change. It's from Bo Kim to Sun Kim.
Kim and his wife are actually working in Statesboro, I believe, or they have another facility
Yes.
that they're
Yes.
operating and hope to come back to Meriwether.
Right, from Sun
But in
Kim.
the meantime,
Yeah, Sun Kim is running it right now.
okay,
And you stated he met all the requirements by law?
Yes, he's met all the requirements.
Okay.
so with that being said, we're still in public
Yeah,
comment.
you're about to say you're in public hearing, is
Right.
applicant.
He is here if you have any questions.
Anybody got any questions for the applicant? If not, is there anybody here that's against it or for it that wants to speak?
I have a question. If they currently.
Hold on,
sell-
hold on.
You need to come up to the podium and sign up.
Okay,
State
if
your
they
name.
my name is Pat Williams, 1494 Coleman Creek Circle, Luther, Georgia. If they have currently been selling alcohol, and you said they do have a license,
Yes, they're changing licensees. Bo Kim was the original, now we're going to Sun Kim.
okay, but according to our code, there is no transfer of a license. You start all over from square one. I don't believe in this state you can transfer a license unless there's a death, and it could be administrator. But listed on the state, if you look on the state license, so I would like to know, do they have a state license?
Once we get approval, they do have a state business license, but alcohol license, will as soon as I get approval for him to be licensee, then the state will make him a licensee. He has a new application, this application from him to be the licensee. I do have the application from him that would be sent to the state as the licensee, not Bo Kim.
But she does raise a very good point to, does the law?
We're not asking for
Liquor
we're not asking for, a change in use, we're just changing the licensee. So we're asking for a new licensee. Am I making sense, Michael?
I think what she's saying is the business is not transferring the license to another business. They're trying to change the person of interest or the person of record as the license holder
Yes.
from person one to person two.
And I understand that, and I'm not the expert in zoning law and alcohol license law. I trust you for that, and it's a very good point and question that she made is,
And I
what
may
does
have-
the law
And
say?
they have worded, when I say change of licensee, I may be wording it wrong, because Bo Kim is not the licensee or owner. It is now Sun Kim is the licensee and owner, so we're not changing, I'm not asking for a rezoning of alcohol.
I know, I understand that what she's saying is that the law
Yes,
does not allow for the license to be transferred to
Yeah,
another
we're not-
person,
okay.
except in death. I don't know the answer to that. It's a very good question.
that's the reason we're here tonight. I'm not transferring, I'm asking you to approve Sun Kim as the licensee.
So a brand new license then?
Yes.
So is it a
Is it?
business license that we're transferring, or, because he would still have to apply for the alcohol, correct?
He's supplying, that's what we're doing now is the alcohol. The business has already been approved. Now-
He has filed a new application to be licensee.
Right.
Okay.
That's what we're
He
doing.
has a original application to be the licensee, is what I'm understanding.
Yes, that's what we're doing.
Okay, because I thought I heard somebody say something.
She's using the word transfer.
You should not
I
have used-
think what she's saying is the business pre-exists. they're
Yes.
changing the licensee. She's used the word transfer, but he has filed his own application to serve in that role.
I'm not transferring.
If he's done that, then once he
Yes.
gets his stuff from the state, we can approve it based on
Yes.
state approval.
Yes, state has to have my.
State won't approve it
approval.
until we do, right?
Right,
Right.
and that's what
Just
we're
like
doing
before.
tonight.
But had they been selling alcohol prior to today?
Yes, they've been doing the, whatever it, Korean.
But they had a license, that
Yes.
was approved last year, or whenever they first started, that had
They're
already
not
been.
listed as having a state license.
What's that?
They are
It's
not
under-
listed.
It's not under MDS,
I don't
it's
think you
under,
have a
that's
state
full
license package,
something.
I think the local
I have no
business,
idea.
this is just a county license.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But they would, therefore, okay, if they've been selling alcohol prior to with no state license, they cannot get it delivered into their establishment without a state license. So that means they're going somewhere else and buying it and bringing it in, and we're losing revenue off that. So if they have been doing that previously, they're in violation, and you got rules if somebody is in violation prior to passing a new license.
But this is just a renaming, not a transfer, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Well, I mean, I wish
Well-
somebody would ask him. It's not
Okay,
my-
what's on hand right here tonight is approving him for an application he applied for. If there's something problem with what was previous in the past, that's just going to have to be addressed a different way. That's not on the agenda. That's not the question. So we can approve a license for him as a licensee, but he won't be able to do no alcohol serving stuff until they show you a state license and complete.
Right,
It says here they want to change the alcohol license.
What's that?
It says here they want to change the alcohol license. For the change of license of the alcohol license.
the licensee.
And you're right, and once we give that approval, then it has to go to the state. Because we're just saying it's okay to change it, we're not okay in that license, we're saying it's okay to have a license, but then the state has to come in and approve that behind us, is that right, Michael?
And if the state doesn't approve it, what goes on then?
He won't get 'em.
Can't serve alcohol.
Right.
Yeah.
But she's saying that they've been serving.
From what I
Under
understood.
previous owner.
From what I understood.
I don't know.
I'd have to check into
I
it.
think so.
I'll have to
Yeah.
contact O'Kim, but from my understanding.
So when we approved the license for alcohol at Quaker's Farms, Cowboy Town, all of those, they have state license too?
Yes,
Okay, and that's provided to you?
yes, I have to provide it to the state.
Has this restaurant provided a state
No,
license to you?
I have to put it in the state portal, a copy of our license, and then the state portal will take his application.
Okay.
Once he gets
I do know-
ours, he
I
puts
do
it in the
know
state
If you have
portal.
a state license, you can't go to a liquor store and buy liquor and serve it in that.
Oh, no, you cannot. No, you cannot. It has to be delivered.
I just hope we get it right because.
We will, I'll make sure it's on
From
top of
my
it all.
understanding, we were supposed to have a DRI on the shelter property before we voted on it. We did it anyway, so I just hope we get this right.
Well, I think also, and I just asked the attorney, he's gonna look into it, but we also have to look at the fact that it's not open to the public, and yes, they are serving, so I don't know if that has any other differences in it than if it were open to the public.
Okay. I'll get with.
It depends on whether they're giving it to them as a guest or if they're selling it to them.
Right.
If they're selling it to them, they gotta have a license and we have, gain the revenue.
But the stipulations may be different since it's not open to the public.
Correct.
So we could start with this day, if the board wants to, we can make a motion to approve him as the licensee. He has to provide a state license, but under conditions of you getting that question, a legal answer, or the council give us the answer to where they're not, if it's the same because you're not open to the public.
Mr. Kim,
We're
Do you-
open to the public.
You will be open to the public.
Now we are.
Oh, now you are.
He is open?
I hadn't been.
When,
can you have him come up to,
Come up.
come on
Come
up
on
to the
up.
podium, please?
Mr. Kim,
Yeah, let's get it all straight.
The husband and wife, not like Dennis's wife.
so you're open Monday through Friday,
Monday to Friday.
at lunch, what's your hours?
11:30 to 1.
11:30 to 1, Monday through Friday.
We open to public so everybody can come in and get a lunch. And we're planning to open dining for diner. So
After that, everybody can come.
So that's changing everything.
I think what I'm gonna do is, can we table this till next month and let me just do, advertising for a whole new thing?
Yeah. And this is serving out there in
A
the
whole new
industrial park
alcohol
area?
thing, just advertise it.
Except for the.
I don't know if you need that.
Huh?
I don't know that you need that. I think we need to do some investigation to see what we do need and then make sure we're following the letter of the law. I don't want him to have to wait an entire month for something we don't need to do. In 2 weeks, we'll meet again.
Okay, so,
Let's just do some investigation and what does the law say and make sure we're following those rules. We're not trying to not approve you. We're trying to make sure we're doing this by the book. So I think
I was gonna say, there's probably been enough changes. I've not been out there over a year, and that was, I wanna say, IDA meeting maybe, was the last time, year and a half. And I know Mr. Mitch, Bo Kim or whatever, and his wife, I've not, they're in Savannah, if I'm not mistaken, Statesboro or somewhere or whatever. And I knew that, there's been some changes, so let's get it right.
so table it to December 9th meeting.
I'll make that motion. Well, we got to come out of this public.
So here's the thing, if you close the public hearing, you're not allowed to take any more evidence or be able to consider anything. You can
Continue.
continue the
We
public
need to
hearing.
continue.
If you do, you're gonna continue it to a date and time certain, and you'd be able to consider additional information, that's presented at that public hearing.
Okay, so I'll make a motion. We continue the public hearing until Monday, December 9th, 2024 at 6 p.m.
I'll second it.
A motion second, all in favor? Thank you, Mr. Kim. We'll get this worked out. We'll get it straightened out, 1 or 2.
Okay, see you then.
All right, number 2.
I asked that you table this one, Mr. Larry White is actually on airplane, was not able to get here. His airplane was delayed, so can we table this one to the December?
Well, we haven't went into a.
Y'all haven't
we
gone
went into
into
it
this
yet.
public hearing yet, so y'all
We
can
haven't
make a
come out of the other
motion.
one
We
yet.
haven't come out of this one yet, because
Continue.
last time y'all
All
said
right,
we can continue without coming out, so,
You're not closing it.
okay, but we're gonna come out of this.
Come out of it,
Okay.
yes.
Do I have a motion to come out of open,
No, we don't come out of it, we just go into the next one, right, Michael?
what do you just,
I don't wanna get into the specifics are that y'all continued the last one. If you wanna come out, if you wanna make a motion to come out of the public hearing, that's fine. You're just not closing, the wording I'm gonna use is closing the public hearing.
we'll make a motion to come out of public hearing, and then we can table that one, then we can go back into public hearing on the next one.
We're not tabling.
You don't
we
need to
just
table
continue.
anything. You-
No, she's number 2. She says she wants to table it.
We already did that till December the 9th.
Correct.
Oh, in that same,
Number 1 we take.
Number
Number
one,
one,
you
you
take.
continue. Number 2, you need to continue.
We continue.
you continue number 1. Number 2's coming up next, Cowboy Town.
Let's take it one step at a time. Let's take a motion to come out of the first public hearing.
I'll make a motion to come out of public hearing for Sue Kim.
Go have a second. Got a second. All in favor? Okay, now we are out of the
All
public
right,
hearing.
before you go into or move to go into the second public hearing, you can just move to table it based on the recommendation of Ms. Sharp without entering it. And it does, if it is tabled, it does need to also have the date and time certain because the notice is already run and this would be an extension of that notice on that public hearing.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we table item 2, licensee change Cowboy Town till December 9th, 6 p.m.
I'll second.
All right, now, got a motion and a second. All in favor? All right. Now, do I have a motion to go into a public hearing for case number P24-021, request from the county building and zoning to correct the zoning of parcel 180014, showing on the zoning map as LDR to NHC. This is Pebblebrook Golf Course. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? We are now in public hearing.
All right, commissioners, this is, the reason this is coming for you is because I received an application for the renewal of the business license for Pebblebrooks Golf Course and Restaurant. And I noticed whenever I was checking the zoning map, that the zoning map did not reflect the actual use, which is the golf course and restaurant. The golf course has been here since 1970, which was before the zoning even happened. I know that through the years, there have been 3 owners and at least 8 leasees, and I know it's been closed several times throughout the years. It was originally opened up as a private golf course. Being that I need to correct my map to reflect the actual use, such as the lots we did up there in Alberton to correct the use it being neighborhood commercial, I'm asking that you approve the correct zoning as neighborhood commercial with the conditional use as a golf course and restaurant only.
Yeah, I like the conditions. That way it just doesn't become neighborhood commercial and sell out, and then people's got
Right.
stuff coming in that we don't get the.
I want it, yeah, just for the use that it's being used for, but I just need it to reflect on my map the correct use, which would be neighborhood commercial with the conditional use of a golf course restaurant.
So that's not stated on this form that way.
Yes, that was just my staff recommendation, when I worded it.
On here, it just says to go from LDR to NHC.
Right, I've done more research since I had turned these into her, so y'all could have it in y'all's packets, and I did some more research.
So I'll make a motion to approve Pebblebrook's Golf Course Restaurant rezoning to NHC.
Wait, I gotta come out of this.
Okay.
I gotta ask if there's
All right.
anybody.
And we need
yeah,
to see if
sorry,
anybody else
sorry.
wants to speak.
Spreading like wildfire. That's what, yeah.
Everybody's ready for Thanksgiving, I think.
All right, is there anybody here that would like to speak against or oppose it or for this zoning correction? All right, if there's no other questions from the board, do I have a motion to go have a public hearing?
So moved.
Got a motion, do I have a second? Got a second, all in favor? We are now have a public hearing. Go ahead, Commissioner Worsley.
I make a motion to rezone Pebblebrook's Golf Course and Restaurant to NHC with the stipulation of as a golf course and restaurant only.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Thank you. All right, now we're gonna have a motion to go into a public hearing for case number P24-022. Request from Todd Bazard Holdings LLC to rezone parcels 159038 and 159038-002 from NHC to industrial, the old car lot outside of Manchester. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? We are now in a public hearing.
All right, Commissioner, I received an application for the requested lots, going from a neighborhood commercial to industrial use for the use of truck transportation of material and waste materials. And I want Mr. Bazard to present this to you because it's gonna say hazardous waste, but it's not hazardous as far as biohazard and things that we're thinking about. It's gonna be more of your items such as aerosol cans, shampoos and hairsprays and all that. It's the kinds of pallets and stuff that they'll be transporting. And he is here tonight to discuss with you what they will be transporting. The Planning Commission did hear his presentation. They had a lot of questions and he was able to answer those questions, and the planning board and my staff does recommend approval as long as he meets all the stipulations with the fire marshal and the EPD regulations. And they're here tonight to present the case for you.
Thank you, Ms. Sharp. Appreciate that. Good evening, everyone. My name is Todd Bassard. I'm the founder and president of Zinvictus Incorporated and also the owner of Bassard Holdings. I'm here with my wife, Alice, and we live at 105 Middleton Drive in Peachtree City, Georgia 30269. In August of this year, we purchased the old Chevy dealership on Georgia Highway 85 right outside of Manchester, and with plans to open up our own operations as a transporter. As I founded our company, our Zinvictus company, about 11 years ago, we've been managing distribution centers that have personal care products that may be hazardous, helping them with their training, with their compliance and consulting, as well as transportation and disposal of products for zero landfill. So we help these companies recycle aerosol hairspray, aerosol mousse, antiperspirant deodorant, things like hand sanitizer, pump hairspray, even Noxzema wipes or face pad wipes or hand sanitizer wipes that may have ethanol. And so for the last 10 years, we have been acting as a manager and helping as an environmental compliance manager. And now we'd like to take the step into becoming transporters ourselves, owning our own trucks, employing our own drivers. And as a part of our process, we just first off want to thank you for allowing us to present first and foremost, but also kind of shed some light on what it is we do, because when we hear the word hazardous waste, we may think, oh my God, there's radioactive waste, or there's biohazardous waste, or there's an incinerator, or there's a landfill, and that's not the case with us. So I am a specialist in distribution centers and retail hazardous waste, as well as pharmaceutical waste. And so these are products that under our bathroom sinks, under our kitchen sinks, in our garages, that we buy at Target, that we buy at Home Depot, these big box stores, our pharmacies. And so some of our largest customers that we've been managing for the last 10 years, what we did is we put together a board to help show the visual for you of the products exactly that we manage, okay, and what these are. And so we've got a number of these products. So the aerosol products that Ms. Sharp mentioned, aerosol hairspray, mousse, antiperspirant deodorant. We manage this through a facility in Cincinnati, Ohio that is 100% recycled. We recycle the pallets. They ship on pallets in cardboard boxes, sometimes in 55-gallon drums. And they ship under a DOT exemption for limited quantity. But if we did have to ship them, they would be a DOT hazard for ground transportation as a flammable gas, because the propellant in the aerosols contains propane, isobutane, things like that. We spray it on our bodies all day long, right? But as soon as this company tries to dispose of it, the DOT and the EPA make us categorize it based on those constituents, right? And that's fair enough. We want to, I'm not, we agree with that. And, but these are limited quantity products. For the majority of the past 11 years, this has been our customer. And we are now in a position to where we purchase property. I own Bazaar Holdings. We purchased this property outright. We also purchased the neighboring, it's an adjoining body shop on McLean Road. And so we have actually been in the process of cleaning that property up and in the planning and architecture phase to figure out how we can use this as a pass-through operation, So just to kind of clarify what we do and don't, we're not an incinerator, we're not a landfill, we're not a disposal facility, we're a transporter. And what this facility here in Manchester would allow us to do is if we go to a Walmart distribution center, an Amazon distribution center, and a couple of retail stores and bring back a truck, we do that 5 times, we can separate that material and send out 5 different trucks to the proper facilities. Some is non-hazardous, some is aerosols, some may be batteries for recycling, some may be electronics for recycling, things like that. And so what we're asking permission is to become a transporter. And so we believe that that facility has a lot of potential, it would fit our needs. We're looking to invest upwards of $3 million. I just had a phone call today with our Peterbilt representative, and we think, we could have some trucks lined up at the beginning of the year where we could possibly hire 3 drivers at the beginning of the year. And now, we've got a long way to go with the fire, right? So we would definitely have to clarify our plans, our fire marshal, and things like that. So we're a long way away from a certificate of occupancy and that open door, we can do business. However, these products are just products that we have in our houses, right? Hand sanitizer, that's ethanol, that's a flammable liquid. And we can distill that, and this is 100% zero landfill, 100% reuse. That ethanol is distilled in a facility in Kentucky, and it becomes fuel-grade ethanol that we put in our vehicles every day. So this is a pretty exciting story. And so we do some cool stuff, and sometimes they're wipes, sometimes they're electronics or batteries. Some of the things like fluorescent light bulbs contain mercury. They have to be packaged and transported, and people have to be trained on how to handle those properly so that they're not thrown in the dumpster out back improperly and things like that. So We wanted to introduce ourselves. We wanted to let you know that, hey, we're a specialty company. We really help companies in retail and distribution centers primarily, although we do have the capability, I think, to where we could service a large manufacturing site like Kia Motors. We have that environmental expertise, the amount of training that we invest in every year on EPA, OSHA, DOT, and environmental compliance and safety. I personally trained 5 weeks last year, or this year, so it's a lot of training, it's a lot of regulations, but basically we would be a pass-through facility. So we're not an incinerator, and we don't deal in commodities like your household trash, so we don't have any of the household trash trucks. We primarily be dealing with van trailers, 53-foot van trailers, and box trucks, straight trucks that could go to the local pharmacies much easier than a full tractor trailer.
So can I ask a question at this point?
Yes,
So-
sir. Yeah.
So you will not be doing any distilling or depressurization on site? It's just a sorting facility, so to
It's a
speak?
sorting facility, that's right.
Okay.
Is it 24/7?
Our hours of operation would be 7 to 3. So we Monday through Friday. So I don't see it, we're professionals. And so at this point, that would be very far away from us to run 3 shifts. Right now, for the foreseeable future, we see ourselves working 1 shift Monday through Friday.
Because you know this sits right in a residential area.
That's right. That's right. And it's a beautiful residential area.
I live there.
I'm very attracted to this area. I grew up in Kennesaw, Georgia, and this area reminds me of when I grew up in the 70s in Kennesaw, and very attracted to this. So you've got a beautiful area.
Well, 24/7 would be something that would probably bother me because there's a actual house and residence right behind the property that you purchased.
Yes, sir.
So loading this type of equipment continuously 24/7 would probably be a disturbance to that area.
Yeah, I totally agree, and that's why right now we're requesting 7 to 3 Monday through Friday. So we would do everything to work within the community and make sure that we're good neighbors. And as you can tell, a lot of times these products smell really good. So there's no odor issues, there's no open pits or any of that stuff. So it's basically a pass-through of a lot of finished goods.
As far as fire concerned, then that's going to be a county matter, not city, because that's outside the city limits of Manchester.
Yeah, Marshall, he's reviewed
Because the reason you have the DOT restrictions is the volume that's on the trailer, not, it is under our cabinets at home, but we don't have enough to, blow your bathroom off your house.
That's right.
You'll have enough on that truck and then eventually
That's
on
right.
site to blow that whole lot up if something was to happen. So
That's right, so we would definitely have to work with MIT to identify the proper safety and the proper fire protection. And so that is, again, this property has been in vacant for a number of years, and so we have been cleaning it out. The structure of the property is great. It's a block and steel, so the structure is fantastic. We don't see changing the structure, but we have cleaned out all of the interior non-load-bearing walls. All of the electrical has been removed and all of the plumbing has been removed. So we're really this is gonna be built to today's code as far as electrical and plumbing, and as well as the fire suppression and safety equipment.
So how soon do you think you would be up in operation? Because I see us as having some obstacles on our end from the fire side.
That's gonna be the biggest obstacle for us to overcome, absolutely, we agree.
Because we need to do some work to be ready when you'll be ready.
And so, yeah, so there's another thing, so for us to get a business license, that would allow, we would file with the Georgia DPD as a transporter of hazardous materials and hazardous waste. That would allow us to operate, so our customers are currently in Florida, Texas, California, Illinois, and Pennsylvania. Our disposal site's in Ohio, so that would allow us to at least get trucks and start moving that I'm paying other companies to do right now, so we wouldn't even have to come here yet.
But will you be parking loaded trailers there?
Well, we would not until we have clearance from the fire marshal.
Okay.
And what would be the period of time of leaving? If you get a load of merchandise in today or all of this, what would be the time frame that it would sit there on that lot?
That's a great question. And so the regulations for the EPA say for anything that's hazardous waste, we can only store for 10 days. So that's hazardous waste. The universal waste regulations are a little bit more streamlined, and they include things like light bulbs, batteries, and they also include aerosol cans. So some of those do allow us to receive those and store those for up to a year. We are not in the storage business.
Right.
So that's not our goal, is to buy and sit on things. We want to have a streamlined process where we receive and we move out quickly. And, but back to your point, everything is, before we can do anything at our Manchester property, we have to have an approval from the fire marshal. But however, a business license would allow us to start getting permits for our national business.
I think as a note, Allison, we probably at our next meeting need to have Danny here and the fire marshal and get, what are we looking at? What kind of potential? Because I see us as needing to make an investment as a county to be able to handle this. It's not a bad thing. You just want to make sure we're prepared for it. So we need to get ahead of it, at least what the cost would be and timeline to be ready.
So when you're storing this, whether it's 10 days or 1 year for some of those products, is it all climate controlled or would it be stored outside?
So our vision, we're not so sure that the warehouse is going to be climate controlled, meaning I don't know that it has to be heated and conditioned. It would be in the facility, right? Any trailers outside would have to be in locked, secure video surveillance trailers.
Right. What I'm getting at is some of those under pressure items sitting in excessive heat.
That's right. Yeah, so again, some of these aerosols have 120-degree Fahrenheit upper limit, right? So again, having a trailer sitting outside in August in Georgia, flammable aerosols that's not in our interest, and that's not in our safety.
And I think that what Adam was saying too, we would probably need to communicate with the city of Manchester because they're actually the closest fire department to that area.
Much faster response, and we'd have to work together on that.
We have talked a little bit, and my wife Alice met, was it Ben? So we've talked to Mitt and to some of the Manchester, and then I can't remember the other gentleman's name, maybe Sandy was the deputy chief of Meriwether County.
Sandy Garrett.
Sandy, yeah. So I met Sandy and we talked and said, hey, this is who we are, this is what we're doing. And so there's gonna have to be a coordinated emergency response plan that we'll put together. That's a documented EPA, very formal document that involves all of the local emergency responders, including hospitals, police, fire departments, that would be highly coordinated with Meriwether and Manchester. That's a part of the EPA regulations.
So where would the closest company be to Manchester that actually does this currently?
Dollar General?
No, a company that they don't store that kind of stuff though.
Oh, you mean a competitor?
Right.
Atlanta, there's a couple in, out off of I-20 and Thornton Road. There's a couple, there are some, we compete against the world's largest hazardous waste company.
Right.
So Veolia, I don't know if I can say any competitors, but we compete directly with the largest hazardous waste companies in the world. And some of those do have offices in Georgia and in Atlanta.
Of course, I'll do my investigation, but do you know of any issues that these other companies have had with doing this type of business?
Could you be more specific?
Have they had any accidents, any
Oh,
explosions, anything like that?
I'm sure if we wouldn't have to look too far at facilities where there have been issues, I don't want to say recently but the EPA and the DOT, these are highly regulated materials for a very good reason, right? They have to be packaged properly, and that's a part of what we do as part of our management, compliance, and training. We help Fortune 100 companies write their policies and procedures on how to manage these products and label them, store them, and do the pre-transport paperwork and labeling. And then we manage the transportation and disposal on the back end. So it's a very, it's all about compliance. So everything that we do is about managing the hazard. So that's the reason why all of these packaging and a lot of the DOT regulations apply, is because it is very complex.
So most of your products, or all your products, is actually coming from different stores. It's not citizen trash products, because they're throwing it in the trash can, it's going to the landfill. So
That's right, households
so
are
you're going around
exempt.
picking up
Yeah.
stuff that stores need to get rid of, or
Businesses, commercial, yeah. Households are exempt from most of the EPA, if not all of the EPA regulations. So what we do at home is much different than what a company could do.
any other questions?
I'm just glad you've been up front with us and telling us what's gonna be on this lot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And again, I grew up in Kennesaw. I'm a native Georgia boy and a military veteran, and Iraq and Afghanistan veteran, and this is the American dream, for our family. We started a company and we're 11 years in, and we'd like to grow, and we think this is a great place for us to make this big step.
And y'all need this approval before you can go to the next level.
That's right.
And this, almost like other alcohol and so forth, this could be approved based on conditions. In other words, it's got to meet all the fire stuff that we can, in other words, if it came out and our chief came and said, if they had a fire out there, we couldn't handle it, that would put everything on a hold till we figure out what's going to be done.
Yes, you can approve the rezoning subject to conditions.
Yes. All right.
And that lot, just as a point of clarification, when we're talking about outside of Manchester, the Chevy dealership and the body shop behind are two parcels, and the Ford dealership right next to us is the third parcel, that are all three, if I'm not mistaken, the Sharp Zone neighborhood commercial. And we talked to Jason and Brad that have Stelson Signal, and some of the things that they're doing, and they may be coming behind us to request industrial as well, because some of the things that are really looking more business and industrial looking. But the way that those three parcels look, they come, I think we're the first stop right outside of Manchester City.
You are.
The other thing that we looked at was Ms. Sharp provided us with a comprehensive plan, and it looked like Manchester's city growth, we were going to be in that target. And so to the point that was made earlier about the coordination between Meriwether and Manchester, we do have Manchester Water. So that's where our fire and our water and a lot of these questions are going to require some coordinated effort, right? Because the fire hydrant right now is at, I can't remember if it's a half a mile in both directions. So there's not a fire hydrant on our block. So this is something that we need to address, and before we can even open our doors, right? So, but the approval to rezone would allow us to start getting some of these other EPA and Georgia licenses and things like that, so.
I'm curious, what kind of revenue, how does this benefit, I know you'll hire a few drivers, how does this benefit the county?
Yeah, so when
revenue wise, because I've heard, I know this has to happen, but
that's right.
It's interesting to me, but it's the first time I heard about it. So how does this actually benefit the surrounding area in the county?
Yeah, there's a number of benefits that, in terms of revenue, our company, as we're approaching $10 million in annual revenue, again, we'd like to grow, and so we see this trending upward. But again, we see ourselves investing in a vacant, I don't want to say abandoned, but an eyesore, for lack of a better word. This property, I mean, it was a Walking Dead show, literally. They filmed an episode there. And so we have been, I don't know if I've pulled out of there already 20 roll-off containers full of construction demolition. And so we're working with our general contractor. So the investment for us is already in the line of $3 million, just in the facility and the upgrades, to get the property just to functional, to where we can open our doors. And I think as far as us employing, we could quickly be in the neighborhood of 10 employees, right? Like I see 3 or 4 on short order. So as far as revenue, employees, investment in the community, again, we're a compliance company. So a lot of what we do is, although it doesn't require a college degree for a lot of things, but we do need some sharp people. So we need some people that can look at a safety data sheet, right? That can talk on the phone, that can present themselves on a Zoom meeting, right? So we are, I would consider ourselves high-paying jobs, right? So I think the benefit to the company in addition to that is I think that there's a number of opportunities from the environmental aspect, right? When small companies, automotive companies, right, that may need hazardous waste disposal, right? Retail establishments, the pharmacies, the big box retailers, the Dollar Generals of the world have these products, right? So I think to be able to service that and other growth along I-85, right, with other distribution centers, those are our targets. That's our expertise. So we see ourselves really being a regional and national player headquartered here in Meriwether County.
Any other questions from the board? At this time, I'll ask if there's anybody here tonight that wants to either speak against it or for it or have some concerns.
Very good job, nice presentation.
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you.
No person. Any more discussion among the board before we go out of the public hearing?
Well, Gene, I would actually like to request to continue this till the first meeting in December, and I hate to do that to you. I just need to be able to do some more research on this, speak to the city, speak to the fire chief, the fire marshal, to get their input on it. So I do put that in the form of a motion to continue this to the first meeting in December.
And that's at 6 o'clock?
Yes, 6 o'clock.
And I would say there's also, I agree and I'll second the motion, but the reason is, to his point that he made of the fire hydrants are half a mile away in either direction.
Y'all didn't see it going on, or did
They'll
you?
change that, and there's cost that's incurred. Is it all on the county? Is it all on him? Do we mutually work together? Do we bring the city of Manchester in that? How do we make that network work? There's tons of things like that. We need to do some investigation on the next couple of weeks. And I think everyone's very much inclined to approve it, but we need to make sure we're safe about this when we do it.
Yeah, I think it's a great
I got a
thing.
second.
Right, it was a great thing and great presentation, and we are wanting to move forward with more industry in the county. We just have to make sure it's the right one, especially when that industry backs up to a residential area like that.
Just real quick, to your point, whether it's all county or all Invictus, or we're highly motivated to work with you and Manchester and Meriwether to accomplish that fire hydrant.
Gotcha.
So you have our desire to work with you to speed this up, to write checks, to what do we got to do? And to your point, we would be happy to include, Mr. Threadgill, we have a wooded buffer along the backside of our property. We'd be happy to include a lime or wooded buffer or a landscaped, anything to address your concerns, right?
The day that the sign went up for rezoning, people were pulling into my driveway that live out there, so understand I want to do what's right and make sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Everybody off.
Table to the next meeting. Go right on into appointments. I still do not have anybody for District 1 DFACs. I'll make a motion to continue that.
You want to table it?
Table it, please.
I'll second it.
Number 2, appointment to Meriwether
Yeah,
County.
we got a vote on that.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Everybody's table.
Okay, go ahead. What's that? Go ahead. You got 3 votes.
Who made the motion? You made the
He
motion?
did, I
you
seconded it.
Okay.
All in favor?
And we're in favor.
We're not.
appointment to Meriwether County Water and Sewage Authority, District 5, to set to expire 12/31/2024.
I need to make a motion to table that to the next meeting.
Got a motion? We have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Table.
I make a motion, we take a short break.
All right, got a motion to take a few minute break. Got a second?
Second.
All in favor? We'll take about a 10-minute break. All right, we're back rolling here. Under unfinished business, the first thing is the courthouse assessment proposals.
Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners, we have two proposals for the courthouse, one at EMC Engineering and one for Terracon. I think Chris from EMC should be online on Zoom, and I think there's a rep from Terracon here as well. I guess we'll let Terracon, since he's on person, go first. He's the second proposal in your packet.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm an architect by background and really was impressed by the antebellum houses I saw coming in from LaGrange over to the meeting. I don't know if that gets me any points or not, but they were pretty cool looking. I'm also a registered roofing consultant.
Go ahead, if you would, state your name and.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not used to doing these meetings.
Pull that
Michael.
mic down just a little bit so they can pull it down. There you go.
Got you, thanks.
There you go.
Keep coaching because
I hear you.
Mike Baker, I'm an architect. I'm RRC means registered roofing consultant, which is a certification you get because you know a lot about roofs. I am in Lawrenceville, Georgia, with the Terracon office there, and that's where our building enclosure and water intrusion group are, which we're a very small group working for a really big company. So we have an environmental engineering group, and one representative is here from the Columbus office. You see our trucks around mostly doing construction materials testing, concrete cylinder testing anyway on job sites. And then we have a geotech drilling group that does work as well. So I'm in the fourth service line called facilities, and it's a lot of engineers and architects doing different things. So I'm here because I do a lot of roof assessments and then repair and replacement design. I'm finishing up a roof for Gwinnett County Correctional Facility, which was a recover where we went over the top of what's there with a new roof that gets a 20-year warranty. I'm currently managing 2 state prison projects for the Department of Corrections. It's all the buildings, and I did the Reedsville State Prison assessment and replacement design 2 years ago. They're building a new state prison now to replace it. I'm currently working on the Georgia Diagnostic and Classification Prison in Jackson, and we're about to go out, well, we just got bids in on that, excuse me, and then I'm working on Walker State Prison's roof replacement design. It's up near Ringgold in northern Georgia, so get a lot of work from them. I've done a lot of work with the Corps of Engineers doing their roofing stuff. I came over from Terracon from the post office roofing program. So all that's to say, I have a lot of background in roofs, but also just general building construction and, in this case, water intrusion issues. So the courthouse has obvious roof leakage problems that we've been told by Mr. Gordon. And so he's asked us to provide a proposal to look at that, come up with repair and or replacement solutions, whatever we deem is necessary. And then we can put an estimate on that. We will also do structural engineering analysis. There are some cracks in the walls. They can do an examination of those walls. I can too for water intrusion issues. Part of that is also we need to have that structural engineer who's on the team look at the underside of the roof deck to see what condition it's in and if that's structurally sound, because that's part of the roof system. They'll look at the dome as well. And then we also will have an environmental component. They're primarily going to look at the mold issues in the building, but we really don't want to address that until we get the building dried out, essentially because it wouldn't do any good to do it otherwise. One thing, though, I do offer, we're not going to do that in the initial assessment, but when we get into doing test cutting squares out of the roof, coring it, we will sometimes do an environmental analysis for asbestos-containing materials, also take samples of lead paint. So the environmental scientists basically do that in conjunction with me. We're all on the roof together, and that becomes part of what we create as a roof assessment report with photographs. So we'll show you what the problems are. We'll tell you what we think the recommendations are. Then from that, we discuss that with Mr. Gordon and any other interested parties to go over what our options are, essentially. After that, if the decision's made to move forward, I personally do the replacement designs, basically blueprints in layman's terms for bid documents, and we put those out, and I work with the entities who are the client, essentially, and we put those on the street per whatever county processes there are for the purchasing department. And then we also provide oversight, quality control oversight, periodic visits to see that things are going as they should be. One thing about roofs, they get a 20-year, usually no dollar limit warranty on any system these days. And the manufacturer has to come out and certify that installation. So they issue the warranty, but we also walk the site with that manufacturer and make sure that they're seeing what we're seeing and vice versa. So we get a quality job at the end of the project. We also have periodic meetings during the construction. It's no different than any other standard construction project. So our proposal is basically to come here and do the initial analysis without doing any test cutting, just sizing up what we have, doing pictures. We'll do the assessment report. We'll have a structural engineer with us. I'll have two people, myself and another person. I'm the guy climbing around on the roof, still doing it after all these years. And I kind of enjoy that over sitting in front of a computer, just to be honest. So we will have the structural engineer who's on our team accompany us on that. And then, again, the mold analysis would come later on after we've addressed the repairs of the roof and roof leaks. That's about the size of it. Is there any questions?
Yeah, I got a couple. So
Sure.
We're not, at least I'm not 100% convinced that it's a roof problem, that the leak is where that's coming from. So I don't want to go into this with, we're going to focus on the roof and look, are we looking at other areas? Because we think there's a water escapement issue from the gutter and going in. Air conditioning units, of the fans have been rusted, stopped up, that caused the leaks. You know, we need to know more than just, well, your roof's good or it's bad.
No, we
need to know the full
look at
scale
the
of
whole
water
thing,
treatment.
and I'd look at the whole thing. Actually, the Gwinnett County Correctional Facility has condensate line problems with the drainage pans, and I've been working with the roofers in the county. Basically, you know, they're saying, oh, the roof, you know, you guys just put a new roof in and it's got standing water. Now it's condensate, and they were able to trace that back. So yeah, I'm looking at the whole picture. I'm looking for any water points of intrusion.
And that's in this package? The
Yeah,
price
right.
is-
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to look at everything when I'm out there. We also, we do new construction inspections. We'll do window water pressure testing. We do crack monitoring, a lot of diagnostic tools. We can do infrared scanning. I'm probably going to bring our drone pilot, who will be here anyway, with me to take the pictures up close over the dome, because we can't really climb on that. Also, I'll be looking at we do the below grade waterproofing, either installation reviews or troubleshoot that. And I've had to do both. Sometimes we have to end up digging a trench by the exterior basement wall to see what the waterproofing system is really doing, if the French drain's there. If at all, it's an awfully old building. The roof may have been replaced in the last 20 years. We don't really know. We're hoping to get a warranty out of your records.
Yeah, we've done some work there.
Yeah, but even then, even within 20 years, sometimes they just don't wear as well, or the installation wasn't as good as it should have been, that kind of thing. I look at everything. I look at the grading around the building and how that's draining. I look at how you discharge the roof into either underground drainage or out onto the grade, because it's all part of the drainage. It's all about the water and how you're getting it out of the building. The windows could have problems with flashing and other things too. And again, if we suspect any of that, we'll put that into our assessment report as what we consider deficiencies, we call them, and or considerations or issues. And then we'll discuss that with you. All of this may obviously require additional, more extensive testing, but that'll be up to you if you want to move forward. If I can do this down and dirty, we can just call up a contractor, come out and re-roof the building, then that's what we'll do. But we need to do the first step and just do our homework and see what's there.
So my other question was on when you do the core drilling on asbestos, lead paint, if you find that, is environmentally wise, is that going to result in a force of action by the county to remediate that and address it?
They take samples. We don't know if it's contaminated or not. They'll go through with a little bitty pipe to get the core samples. And what we test cut is like either about a 1 foot square area, and I actually have actual roofers patch that back. They'll do the cutting and patching back. So I bring those guys in and they'll do that work. Some of them the company wants to do so they can get the lead on the work if it goes to bid, but.
No, I'm asking from an environmental standpoint of if we identify asbestos or lead paint in that core sample.
Well, if it's on the roof.
We'll be forced to act upon that.
Well, go ahead, you can answer that, but I can.
Okay, that's what, yes, sir.
Please.
Commissioner, this is Patrick. He's the one who actually came on site and did the assessment initially, so he did the moisture
He's out
sample.
of our Columbus, Georgia office that we all work together.
I haven't in my notes.
Patrick Simpson. I'm a hazardous materials inspector with the Columbus office of Terracon. I live at 110 Simpson Street, Casita, Georgia. And to answer your question is yes, if asbestos or lead-based paint are found, it will require abatement prior to any continuation of work on the roof. And I don't know if anyone has discussed it yet, but there's also the historical side of the structure that we will have to go through SHPO, the State Historical Preservation Office, to make sure that, because we will actually have to get their approval before any repairs, remodeling, or anything else is done on that structure. Just because I believe it is listed on the National Historic Register. Okay.
And I believe it was rebuilt in the 1980s, so there shouldn't be any asbestos or lead paint. But
yes, sir.
My concern is that at this point, it could be covered in it, and it's not costing us anything.
Absolutely.
Once we uncover it, now you know. Now this could
covering asbestos or encapsulation, as it's called, is perfectly legal. If it was there prior to the last time you did it, then you would have something on file called an operation and maintenance plan that identified the asbestos that was left in place, or you should have.
If I remember correctly, right before the three gentlemen here, myself and these two came on board, they were repairing the tower. I remember some abatement, something was done because they did find, remember we had to go back and it was an additional cost because they had to clean up something on there, if I remember that correctly.
Well, a building of that age, finding and asbestos or lead paint is not uncommon. When I was doing my walkthrough the other day, I located some possible asbestos in the building, and if I can back up, Mr. Worsley, what you said about roofing or drainage, you go into the third floor courtroom and you look where the dome is, you will see kind of like fuzzy material on the decorative board. That is called efflorescence. It is what happens to material that get wet and then dried, wet and dried. It's the impurities in the material that's forced out from the water over time. And, you have a leak there somewhere.
Oh, yeah. But they paid someone to fix that leak and we still leaking.
Yes, sir.
And that's the only thing I want to make sure of is that we find that leak and get it fixed, and then make sure we don't have another one that maybe the two, that's
we scheduled my walkthrough inspection in kind of a hurry because the day I did it, it was raining. So I could actually follow the rain. And you have one flat roof up there that has bowed so much in the center that the water collects on it and it does not get to the drains. You have almost like a little reservoir up there. And the three of us saw it and I photographed it. Of course, I don't know if any of you got photographs that I took.
Well, that's one reason we want to look at the structural deck and the structural system underneath, but we can compensate for that with new tapered insulation. That's one of the things that I'm doing is looking at that. We're going to look at the drainage openings and new drainage valves, and there's some other things that are part of the assessment or due diligence. But in terms of on these prisons, Reidsville was circa 1930, and GDCP
Come back
said.
by the mic, just so we can get it.
Oh, I'm
recording.
sorry. Again, thanks. Got to be stage managed too. So the point being is that we have identified some asbestos fibers and mastics. Those are basically non-friable, meaning they can't escape into the atmosphere. But because we have to replace flashings, the way that's worked is the roofer has to have a remediation contractor there. They can only re-roof the area they can weather in by the end of a given day. So they can only remediate what they have to do. The demo comes first in the day, or usually at 4 a.m., and then they go in and come with the putback. And it's a little more complicated with something like this courthouse with the different roof configurations and whatnot. That means, and then the lead paint can sometimes be paint on anything that's metal, and it can be on soil or vent pipe flashing, things like that. Again, we'd like to replace that. There are new things out on the market. We can get rid of that lead. The lead's not so difficult, you can correct me, but because it can't be released into the air, it's more of a contaminant, or you don't want to ingest it. It's a little bit less of a problem. It's the asbestos containing materials. So the environmental team comes up when I'm doing the roof assessment. They'll take samples of what I'm doing test cuts of. I'm only doing a few of those in key areas. They're going to go ahead and take additional sampling all around wherever they think they need to test samples based on their experience. I don't tell them what to do. That's a separate activity, but we'd like to have everybody on the roof at the same time. It's easier to manage on top of that.
Let me ask that question a different way, because I understand that if we find lead paint asbestos and then we have to do roof work, that has to be remediated before we can do the roof work. If you determine that the roof is in fine condition, the leak's not coming from there, but during your sampling, you found lead paint and asbestos, is the county liable at that point and forced to take action on remediating the lead paint and asbestos, even though we're not required to do roof work?
If you're not going to repair it,
It can
be left in place.
Okay.
Asbestos is not the monster, or is not the monster that lawyers have said it is.
It can be more, yeah, so.
There are probably 1,000 houses or more in the county that still have asbestos siding on it.
Okay.
Or asbestos flooring.
I was just curious of that. From environmental laws change every year in requirements, and that could get extremely expensive that just by core sampling. Well, now that we know we have to do, and that could turn into millions of dollars to redo everything.
It's there, and like the roof with the rubber membrane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, the chances of finding it on the rubber membrane are the same as one in the lottery 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
But the material that's underneath it, if it's there, then it's encapsulated with membrane. What we will have to do is create an operation and maintenance plan to let the people that work in that building know that it's there. And, that's just, and all it is a document that tells you where the asbestos is, how much, or how many square feet is there, what you would do in case a tree fell through the roof and damaged it and spread asbestos fibers into a lower floor. What kind of plans you would have if there is something like that.
Okay.
When I ran the Savannah School construction program in my 30s, that we had to have an asbestos abatement plan in place with the cost, but we obviously can't afford to do 55 school campuses and all the historic buildings. So as long as we had the plan in place, that's what we needed legally to avoid lawsuits, essentially. And if you're not touching, again, to amplify what you just said, if you're not disturbing it, it's not a problem.
Okay.
If it's encapsulated, not a problem. So obviously, if we're taking off the existing roof system and we know something's there, different problem, then we have to deal with it.
Okay, thank you.
And the mold is a different issue because there are no federal, state, or local regulations that control that.
That's
So
surprising.
the EPA and the HUD and all them, they don't even want to get into that. Because, you know, a mold concentration that you can handle, Mr. King, it may give them 80 or something like that. So they cannot regulate it because there's 10,000 species of mold. And depending on your health, some are dangerous, some are not. A normal healthy person can walk into a room with a stacky box or something, that chair rail right there, and it wouldn't bother them, but someone that has COPD or something like that walk into there, and they wouldn't be able to walk from that door to that door without losing their breath. And it just all depends on their health. But we use the New York City guidelines as a standard for testing and remediating mold. And just about everybody in the country uses the same. So,
I got a question. Because we came on board 2 years ago, and that's all we've been doing is asking to get the leak fixed, that's all we've heard for 2 years. The courthouse needs to be fixed. With all your experience and your knowledge, and let's say we approved to have y'all come in and analyze everything and so forth, what kind of timeline is it from the time you do your thing, do your footprint, ready to bid out and so forth? How long does it take to get ready to bid out?
Well, let's see. Good question. I'm in East Walker State Prison. We did the assessment in, I had 8-member team. We were there in, I want to say it was June. Okay, I'm wrapping up the design drawings for bid, and this is one big building that's 57,000 square feet with a lot of ductwork on top of it, and 2 outbuildings. So I'm finishing design for bid this week. That's my Thanksgiving, by the way. So the answer is, it depends on the project. Something like this, if it's fairly straightforward, it doesn't take but a month or two to, come up with a solution.
Right, I was just hoping we're not like this time next year, 25, finally approving somebody to get the work done.
No. Well, that's the thing. If we can, if we think we can get it done as a repair type project. By the way, there is not a requirement for a general contractor's license for a roofer in the state of Georgia. Side note, because I just ran into that. But bottom line is, what that means is a lot of the roofing people can bid it, get you more competitive bids, and I know a lot of them. Answer your question, it might be we bring some roofers out here and then they can tender a bid within a week if we know pretty much what we're looking at. I typically release the assessment report as part of the bid documents, even if those are drawings and specs. In this case, we might only have to write out a narrative that's the bid document with the assessment report and be done with it.
Right.
So I don't want to make it a big deal. I want to get the problem solved with y'all. And I mean, that's how I always approach these projects, and that's how Terracon approaches it.
and in this particular case, it would probably take 30 days to get back from SHPO. That's pretty much their standard turnaround.
My group can mobilize probably in the next couple of weeks if we got to go ahead. I can get 2 guys out here, the structural guys free to come out here. You guys wouldn't be coming out until after we've addressed the drainage, so it'd be my team that needs to be responsive. And so based on, 1, we would love to do the project, but 2, we can mobilize that quickly and get after it, hopefully before real bad weather sets in. But been on a lot of roofs in a lot of different weather conditions, so I can just say we just do what it takes.
We definitely need to do something. That's awesome.
I want to qualify everything the same. A lot of this is trial and error. We think we'll pinpoint where the problems are but sometimes we can't figure out the point of origin. Now, if it's a roof, it's easy, you just re-roof the thing. So that's where I'm hearing most of the problems are assumed to be. We'll look at it and make our own judgment, but again, if that's the case, we'll tell you, okay, we think it's here, but we might want to check here, here, and here. Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Commissioner, the second one is Chris Brazel, and I believe he's online on Zoom. He's from EMC.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Gordon. Chris Brazel with EMS Engineering Services, 3575 Macon Road, Suite 15, Columbus, Georgia. Thank y'all so much for giving me this opportunity. I apologize I could not be here in person. Hopefully y'all can hear me loud and clear. Is that a no?
No, we're good.
Okay, gotcha. So similar from Terracon, we've had the opportunity to review the scope of work. We're proposing to do a property conditions assessment as per ASTM E2018. We'll assemble our team of experts. We'll come do an entire building and site assessment. We'll review all the building systems, prepare a report with deficiencies and a order of magnitude of opinion of probable cause for the deficiencies that was identified. As we all know, we are having some significant issues with waterproofing on the roof and leaking, and we will hopefully identify that to a sector of the building, and we will provide those findings. And from this report, we would be available to assist with any preparation of construction documents that we could put on a project out to bid and solve the problem that we have at hand. My team is composed of, I'm a professional engineer. We'll have a professional architects, also historic preservations specialists, structural engineers, the whole 9 yards. So very similar in scope and magnitude of what the previous team has proposed. We do have a separate line item for testing for mold, lead based paint, and asbestos containing material. I think the gentleman did a great job explaining how that works, what it means, and what it is. So with that being said, I'll be glad to entertain any questions that y'all may have.
So on this paperwork we have in front of us, you have your cost to do this assessment. And then there's another section of reimbursable expenses. Is that something to be expected to be above and beyond this original assessment?
We will give you the assessment per the ASTM guidelines. It's very clear on what it maps out. I think we broke that down in the scope of work in item number 1.
Yep.
We did in item number 2 quantified a amount of samples that we would take during the mold, lead, base paint, and asbestos containing material sampling. So if we meet that threshold or exceed that, we did give you a per unit price for additional over 45 samples, which, that's spelled out. At this time, I really don't think of any reimbursables off the top of my head. Everything that I have to get you what's in our initial scope of work is included with that lump sum fee.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Oh, I saw something on EMC about them, looking at the HVAC unit.
No, they just said it, HVAC has to be on during mold sampling.
Well, no. We would analyze all of the systems to include HVAC, plumbing, electrical, the roof. So we're going to analyze the entire building and break it down into systems. So you're going to get a complete top to bottom assessment, and we're going to identify any deficiencies that we find in those components. So this isn't just limited to the roof. This is a complete building assessment. as well as any site components, as we talked about the grading, the drainage associated with any type of civil components.
And Commissioners, legal has reviewed both proposals. They did make some changes on EMC, and EMC did agree to all changes. Terracon was just basically straightforward. There was no issues with that one as of right now. But legal has reviewed both proposals.
Okay.
How many projects do you have going right now? Because I was gonna ask Derek, you named off all this stuff that y'all are doing and so forth, and that's amazing, but will it affect you, like, getting on this project too, or do we have to wait till these others get caught up and done? And the same question will be to you too, sir.
Sure, no problem.
No, like I said, we
He said
can
2
have a
weeks,
team
right?
here within a couple of weeks. We just need to get a signed purchase order.
No, I understand that
Oh,
part,
okay.
but like a lot of contractors that you may, I know they're gonna bid and so forth, but people you may recommend that's doing work with y'all and you know they're good quality workers and so
Yes.
forth, are they gonna be way out because they're on this building and on that building and they're up in Ringgold, Georgia? Or-
Not the ones I'm dealing with, no. I'm pretty well connected, and also connected to most of the roofing representatives for the manufacturers who also know a lot of roofers. So I'm currently working on an historic building in downtown Atlanta that's got a barrel tile roof that's circa 1909. Just to mention, I've had a lot of historic preservation background. I don't know if I emphasized that enough, but to answer your question, no, we won't be bonding out the bidding community at all.
As y'all can see, timeline's very important to me, but I'm in construction too, so I'm not wanting to lack quality
Well-
because of hurrying. But I just wanted to make sure that we ain't gonna sit here and just drag this out.
No, we will be ready to mobilize when you want.
Exactly. We need to,
And back to you, sir.
Yes, sir. So we can
timeline.
mobilize as well very quickly. We're a 125-man firm. We've been around since 1978. We've got a great team of local consultants that's going to be helping us on this. I envision, about a 45-day turnaround on the report. And as far as any type of performance for contractor to mobilize and start work, we will build those performance specs inside the construction documents. Normally what we do is once we issue a notice to proceed to the contractor, they have to return the notice of intent with all the paperwork within 10 days and have activity on the project within 14 to 21 days. And that's something that we can work out with your staff and your legal team on what you want to put in as far as the completion duration. And we can say, hey, you have to do it in 45 days, 90 days, whatever you want to do. But we could have that in the big documents that everybody that's turning in a proposal, they understand our expectations of time and the urgency that we place upon them before we even ink a contract with them.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions from the board? Thank you for your time tonight, sir.
Yes, sir.
Those are only two, right?
Yes, sir. There's only two we could get to respond back to any. We reached out to multiple engineering firms, and these are only two that would come back to us.
So where are we at? What do we need to do tonight?
We can either table it to get more information, let the board just look over it and decide, or we need a motion to move forward one over the other.
What's the concern of the board? Would you like to look at some more and then? Is that something that needs to be voted on in a meeting, or if we look at it and decide which party we want to go with, he can just reach out to them, or does it needs to be voted on?
You'd be signing one of these, you'd be entering, there's a couple of contracts that are in here. I don't know if you look page.
Yeah.
So you'd be moving to choose one of the two engineering firms to go with and executing their contract if necessary. I believe the EMC contract does require a signature by the chair. I don't believe the Terracon one does. I think it's just proposal. So
That's what I'm saying,
then,
but-
then John would be able, you could authorize John to, go forward with them.
And if I can may say on behalf of EMC, we would allow any designee of the board to sign our contract as well. We just made it out to the chairman because that's just our normal vernacular that we use when we prepare a contract. So we wouldn't find that as be a hindrance whatsoever if anybody that y'all designated to sign the contract.
Just so I understand, we've basically got two proposals, and if I understand the paperwork, the EMC is $38,000 bid and outline as presented in this package.
Yes, ma'am.
correct? And then Terracon is $15,500 that bid. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and personally, I like the fact that Terracon presented the number of projects that are being worked on now. And because of the complexity of the courthouse, and while it is historic, it was built from the walls out. I mean, when it burned, I believe it burned all the way. So with that being said, it has been an ongoing issue. And I know for a fact, 2.5 years was when I was first called in July, and water was in the basement and problems that we had. I would make the motion to move forward with Terracon on the $15,500 bid, allow the chair to sign the contract. Now, I'm not sure if I've covered everything, if we need to have any additional stipulations in there or whatever. But to me, we need to be acting on this. And unfortunately, we've spent money that may or may not have helped. And I'm gonna raise an issue with all the trees that we've got on the court square. Now, they're beautiful, but I do know that we have had issues with limbs coming off those trees. So I wonder if there's problems in the root system on some of those trees. I just want to throw that out there for my own personal interest. But
Well, my main concern
Well,
is.
hold on. Before you make your motion, let's finish discussion.
Okay.
Okay, because you made a motion,
Okay.
or you was making a motion. So if we're making a motion, we need to either have a second or before.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I was prepared.
My concern is, are both bids equal? Are both of them, he
From what I can
says
see,
he's
no.
assessing the whole courthouse, and their bid is for like 3 assessments.
The major difference I see in it that I like with EMC, and I'd like to see if Terracon can add this, but the review and assessment of the HVAC system, he covered external grounds, digging out, the footings, the ground outside, which we'll see if there's any tree roots in that. He'll be able to see that there. The window testing, the roof testing, all of those things. We didn't mention much about HVAC unless we saw that there was a condensation problem. EMC is going to evaluate that entire system and deficiencies in it.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up. And if I could just add and interject, because I think maybe I didn't get that. If y'all need a resume of what we've done, I'd be glad to share. I was just trying to be succinct and brevity because the team that is present did a great job of telling you what we're going to do. But, we've done the same thing for Harris County Courthouse right down the road, Upson County Courthouse. We've done the exact same thing. So you've got two municipalities, within a stone's throw distance that we did this exact same work and that we implemented a plan of corrective action. So I ask you guys, if y'all want references or anything else, feel free to talk to your colleagues in the adjacent counties, and they'll let you know the work that we do. And I'm sure Terracon's an expert in what they do. We're experts as well, and we've been doing this a long time. And I apologize for my brevity. I was just trying to get you guys to the next level. I know everybody's anxious to go home and eat some turkey and dressing.
Let me ask this for both of you, because from what I understand, EMC, your 38,000 is to come out and assess it, but if we end up using you through the whole process of thing, I think if I understood it correctly, some of that gets credited towards, in other words, you're covering yourself because you came out and did all this work and then we went with somebody else. I don't blame you. You gave a full assessment and told them what it is, and then you didn't get the job. But did I understand it to where if y'all are the engineer of the whole project and so forth, some of that gets credited towards the end, or am I confused?
Mr. Chairman, you're exactly correct. So let me clarify. Our contract includes $8,000 worth of testing and sampling. That's in addition to that is included in that lump sum. If you break it down to the property conditions assessment, that's only a $30,000 line item. We do believe that testing is very important, and it will come after the assessment is complete. But if we are selected as a team to provide the design, solution, and construction documents, that will be deducted from our fee that we would charge on a percent of construction to prepare the construction documents and do the construction management.
All right, and the question to y'all,
Yes.
Does your price include all the testing and assessment and so forth, or is that an additional bill?
There's a couple of answers here. First of all, we have on staff mechanical engineers. I had to bring one in for the Walker State Prison because of all the ductwork we were concerned with that was on the roof. But I can bring one in. We would have to add a little bit more to our fee, but I don't see that being much. We would bring a guy in from one of our other offices. So that's that. What we're doing is a property condition assessment. I just didn't use the ASTM standard to quote that. But essentially, we're looking at the entire building and the grounds. Tree roots are part of that. If we think that's interfering with the basement walls or foundation system, that'll get listed in the report on our end. To answer your question, once we've done the preliminary report, we'll see what we're dealing with. We can't really quantify how much design or even any design at all, if it's just a scope of work that has to be bid till after we do our initial assessment. But currently, the prison job for Walker State Prison, our fees are for design less than what EMC's quoting. But that's relative to the company hourly rates and all of those things. So,
But what I'm saying, like all this testing and stuff that gets sent off to see if we have lead and so forth, is that included in your price, or would that be an additional bill?
Well, the lead, there won't be any samples sent off. I use X-ray fluorescence to test for lead paint, which is just a gun that shoots X-rays into the lead and tells me whether it's lead paint or not. Like that. The only samples that would be needed to send to the lab would be the asbestos samples. And I honestly believe that if we need to do some while they do their initial assessment, that we can keep it within the numerized budget or the fee that we put in there.
I budgeted for 40 samples on Walker State Prison. Again, the main building, which is a very old building, was about 55,000 square feet. And they tested everything, took samples at everything rather. We did find contaminants, not in very big quantities. That's the other thing, we will map where those are located. So when it goes out to bid, a remediation contractor will have that quantity in the bid package. But generally, we wouldn't know that until we did the testing, but I don't think you're going to be doing that much based on the square footage of the roof area for sure. And if we see anything, we're dealing with the leaks, which is, we're assuming originating at the roof level. So that's not that big a roof area. I leave to the environmental industrial hygienist as to how many you take.
A roof this size,
yeah.
Just the roof sampling, I thought I'd take 40 samples. We take 3 samples of the different homogeneous area. And homogeneous area is the building type. And we do not consider wood, metal, rubber, or glass as suspect material. But mastics, when you see underneath these membrane roofs, they have the foam. But usually that's on top of something, which could be an old built-up roof.
So it could be the membranes of a built-up roof that might have it.
One more question I have, and I think that's it. As EMC mentioned, they've done several of our neighboring counties' courthouses. As you go through Georgia, almost every courthouse looks almost the same. They're down in Sports Square. They almost built the same. They got the same.
100%.
Stand on top.
Yeah.
All the buildings you named were prisons and other large buildings. How many courthouses, like historic courthouses like this, have y'all done?
I have worked on Chattahoochee County courthouse, which
Now I'm talking about this company, how many of y'all done what we're gonna need to do here? Assess the courthouse and repair the courthouse?
I haven't done a courthouse specifically, but I've done lots of county buildings and roofs, and like I said, all kinds of government type buildings. So I guess I don't want to say this, I want to say one roof is like another roof. So I'm familiar with all the different systems. In the assessments, we've seen a lot of different things over the years. So I'm not sure that it's necessarily unique to the building type as much as it is to the roofing type. So I don't know if that answers your question, but dealing with government agencies, yeah, a lot of experience with that.
I've done assessments for every type of material, hazardous materials for the Columbus County Courthouse, Columbus Government Center, the Troop County Courthouse, and Carroll, is that Carroll County? Yeah, okay, and Carroll County.
Let me add one other thing. It is a large company. We do have offices around the country. I use subject matter experts from some of our other offices, and we brainstorm stuff. So I usually am sharing pictures of what we're doing. I have to have all my reports reviewed by a project reviewer. I am a project reviewer for our company, but I can't review my own things. So there's a guy I use all the time in Houston, Texas, that he'll review that, and he's an old roofing contractor. But again, we have several people around the company that are roofing experts, and they don't charge me extra. That's just, it's part of our company makeup. It's a resource. So anyway, I thought I'd add that too.
Our project reviewers in Kansas.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
I got one more question.
Yes, sir.
You said you were gonna take how many samples of the roof?
Okay, I take 3 samples of each homogeneous area, meaning mastics is 1, the roofing material itself is 1, and the sealants, you have flashing sealants, vent sealants are separate homogeneous areas. So the type of material dictates how many samples they're taking.
Yeah.
And that's in my experience.
Because I know it looks like to me the whole roof is tin or copper or whatever you want.
Yeah, but it's what's under it. That's, because in Albany State University, they have a roof that's covered in tin, but on the parapets, you pull that tin cap off and there's a 1/2 inch black mastic there. And the same with the metal on the flashing. Pull it up, there's a mastic under there.
And that's usually where we've always found it too. It's in the mastics, it's in the sealants, it's in, sometimes it's the patching materials they use to.
I just assumed that the copper was put on that when it was redone.
Yes, sir, but it depends on what's underneath it, the sealant.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't know that even though asbestos was outlawed in 80 and 81, chrysotile asbestos, which is the most common asbestos type used, was only outlawed this year. And it's still used in brake pads and housing siding, wallboard joint compound, and they only outlawed it this year. So even the newer stuff, you still find it.
I was going to say, at the Reidsville State Prison, we had panels that were roofing. Reidsville's the one, anyway, these were called transite panels, and they're actually, exactly, they're pressed panels, they're solid, but we ended up removing those. The scope of work is the Department of Corrections just didn't want those around. So that's some of the things you run into.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any final questions or concerns? Does the board want to make any kind of motion tonight, or does the board need to digest some of this and get back with John and authorizing him to make a decision?
I make a motion we table it to December 6th.
To December 6th.
Well, whenever the next meeting is.
December the 9th.
December the 9th.
9th, December 9th.
I got a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Those opposed? All right, thank you. Yes.
I was ready to go forward. I'm sorry.
What's that?
Are you in favor or opposed?
You favor or oppose?
I'll go ahead and be in favor for it. No, I was ready to make.
All right, we'll go right on to number 3, update on Coleman Creek Circle.
We have number 2. We have number 2.
What's that?
Skip number 2.
We took
You
it.
took it off.
No, we didn't. Just the
That's all.
Huh?
Just the dust sticks. The patch of training is still on there, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, okay, which I heard you say we're gonna take number 2 off, and I scribbled it out.
Let's save a little time here.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we approve the 4 totes, 275 gallons.
Wait, we ain't got to that yet.
Huh?
We ain't got to
That's
that
where we
yet.
at.
I can give y'all a brief, quick rundown on
We're
everything, so
going
we're not
down quick
here all
right
day.
now.
Unfinished consideration.
We're finishing up
after
it.
training.
Where we at now?
So unfinished business, number 2,
Okay.
consideration approval of a patcher training.
I thought they were together.
They were originally were Commissioner Collins, but we separated them out. This is for the patch of training. Blue Coal presented this back in October. We have attempted to reach out to another vendor. We got a quote in today for $15,000. This one came in at $13,553 with the training. Staff recommends we move forward with, who's the company?
Is this something Barry's requested or asking for?
Barry is on board with the patcher training. He believes it'll be useful, and we can, well, right now we're doing patching by the ton. This will help eliminate patching by the ton, and we can do it in-house. And this is to clean the 7,500.
potholes.
Yes, sir.
So
This is the main-
$13,000 to clean it?
To clean it, I bring in 4 totes to train them on properly how to patch the entire surface.
So it's to clean it and purchase 4 totes and get training, $13,000 and
Let me ask you this. It might need to be cleaned and we need a product, but you're telling me we got that equipment over there and we got a public works director, leader, whatever, and we don't have somebody that could show these guys how to patch potholes?
I think the issue is the cleaning of the container. The equipment itself hasn't been cleaned in so long.
And then the
It
proper
needs to be
training on how to
cleaned.
use the equipment.
Correct.
Not how to patch a pathole, how to
Yeah,
use it.
they've been,
equipment part.
yes, this is strictly the equipment.
We said patch training, so I just.
Yeah, it's a patcher 7,500, I believe, is a spray
How to
patcher. that
properly
they have.
operate the patcher 7,500.
All right.
And staff recommends approval of the 4 totes of BAM and training. It can be a T-SPLOST project because it does relate to roads.
All right, what's the board's,
What company is it?
It is,
PCT, no,
consideration approval of the patcher training?
Reynolds Warren
yeah,
Equipment
Reynolds
Company.
Warren. $13,553.
$13,553.
Take a motion.
I make a motion to approve the 4 totes and the cleaning service included and training for $13,553
Do I have a second?
We paid from T-Splotch, right?
And from T-Splotch funds.
from T-Plus funds.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. All right, we'll go around on number 3, update on Coleman Creek Circle.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners. Coleman Creek was part of an LMIDge project that was awarded $525,000. And it was determined by staff it would take additional funds in excess of almost $1 million to complete this project. Staff at the time had analyzed the area and it was determined that the road was in better shape than anticipated, although recognizing the road still needed repair. Staff at the time requested reallocating the $525,000 to the LMIG resurfacing project on Luthersville Road, which was approved by GDOT on November 23rd of 2022. Staff will recommend that Coleman Creek be considered for 2025 LMIG or future LMIG projects, along with reaching out to GDOT for other assistance, since their signs and barricades made this a detour route that caused the road damage. We'll also be looking at safety overlay as a possible option on this road as well. And that's just to give
Make sure
you,
we're just gonna reach out to GDOT and.
yes, sir.
see if we can't get some assistance.
GDOT and our state representative, see if we can get assistance,
Yeah,
because
I would get with Randy Robertson and then,
Yeah, because all the trucks they let on that road now help us out some more.
from my research, going back through it, it was a detour route and the tractor trailers going down there, which caused damage on it, because GDOT put the barricades there, making it a detour. With the heavy equipment, I'm gonna reach out to GDOT and our state rep to see if we can get assistance for Coleman Creek.
yeah. The way they could have solved that problem, because they put the barricades there to once the truck got there, there's no turnaround.
Correct.
If they don't want to help us with it, then in the future, they need to build a circle turnaround on the side of their highway, so when the trucks can't go, they can turn around and go back where they came from and not destroy a county road.
It's the same situation that we had on LaGrange Street, and the detour signs were at the interstate, and the tractor trailers kept on coming.
Right.
But we also need to add Hill Haven to that, because that road took a beating with this, the one that closed LaGrange Street.
Yes, ma'am.
For Greenville. So, and we got another one coming up, 362.
All right, well, right now on the agenda, we're talking about Coleman Creek Circle and what the staff recommendation.
Is this an accurate recent quote for full depth reclamation on this road? That's the,
That's what it was at the time, back in
2 years ago.
2 to 3 years ago.
I think what's up on.
It was about 1.5 million, that's,
Consideration, correct?
No, he's asking, can he put this on the LMIG?
no, it just be considered for, I mean, not to put it on there, just,
We don't need to
Consider it
approve
and
it.
then get with GDOT and so forth and
Yes.
come back with some
there's no
information.
action to be taken, it's just an update on Coleman Creek,
That
because
makes sense.
it was requested by Ms. Williams, an update on Coleman Creek, so I did some research and was just
I thank
providing
you
an
for doing
update.
it. Do I have a motion to, move forward with them, to put it on there for?
We don't have to.
We don't have to do nothing.
Not an action.
No action.
It's just updating.
Okay. All right, good deal. Thank you for bringing it to
Before
us.
we move on now, I know we're, on the LMIG or whatever and all, but, are we going to be using, has the road list been updated from last year? Because, Luthersville Road got all the funding for LMIG last year. Has the status of the other roads in the county, and this is, I'm sure Bill Cawthorn question or whatever, have those roads been reassessed?
I will get with Bill and verify that,
Okay.
Commissioner.
He's supposed to be doing that now,
Okay, that's
but it's
what,
not complete.
right, and then there again, are we gonna be able to meet the deadlines for submittal to the state for LMIG if we wait till the January meeting? That's the problem we had last
I
year.
think my deadline's gonna be February, the end of
Oh, is it?
February.
Awesome.
Okay.
Good deal.
Well, you should be fine, and, all the commissioners, and Jennifer, as a new commissioner, and all, the roads that are in your district or whatever, and all, you may want to start writing them just to get an idea of, okay.
You just got to mark them all down,
Well, I know,
basically. I mean, they about
There we
all
go.
told all the pizzas.
Ain't that the truth? Number 4, Tower House Farms quitclaim deed.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Allison's working on this one, and she can speak on it quicker than I can.
Back in April of 2023, the board voted to close a portion of Jimmy Clark Road. Doing that, we needed to, because we abandoned the road, the board approved that, we needed to do a quitclaim deed to Tower House Brewery. We did not do that. So I have drawn up the quitclaim deed. I haven't, but Darren drew up the quitclaim deed because he was at that time here. And it has been reviewed by legal, and we just need to get that quitclaim deed approved.
Well, which road did we close that we allowed people to walk through and bike through?
That ain't
That's a
good.
different, that's a Quercus. That was all for Quercus.
That's all
only.
Quercus. That's a, oh, what's the name of it? Bird, something bird, or?
it's not this one, so let's move forward, okay?
Okay, that's fine. I
All
just
right,
want
let's
to make
just-
sure.
Why don't we just go ahead and I'll make a motion that we go ahead with the quitclaim deed for.
Second.
All in favor?
So,
There you go.
let's move along.
New business. Number 1, amend the fiscal year 2024 budget to reclass LRA funds to restricted fund balance.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This is just a general accounting entry, and I talked with the auditors. This is to restrict the $1,013,379.36 we received from LRA GDOT funds to be restricted only for LMIG-related projects that fall under LRA. So it's basically, it's just an accounting method just to restrict these funds specifically for LMIG projects or LAR projects.
Any questions from the board, or do we need a motion on this?
You'll need a motion on that one.
Any questions? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to go ahead and reclassify the funds as stated.
I got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Number 2, confirmation of the fiscal year 2025 employee bonuses.
Commissioner, this is just to confirm the annual bonuses that were paid out for fiscal year 25, full-time employees net 150, part-time employees $75 net.
I make a motion to accept this.
Got a motion?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Thank you. Consideration of Public Works Safety Gear Splosh.
Commissioner, this is what Cody Dwyer spoke about with safety gear. As y'all know, we did have a Public Works incident that required an employee to be seen. This is a request to purchase Public Works gear and equipment, that PPE, that does qualify under SPLOST. Staff is requesting a limit not to exceed $20,000.
I make a motion to move forward on providing the safety equipment as needed on 20,000 and SPLOST.
Why are we limiting it to 20,000?
This is just to get the essentials. If we need more, we'll come back to the board.
Okay.
And
It's
it
dated
probably
as well.
will be more
Okay.
because.
It will be, this is typically the winter
We'll make sure
gear.
that covers what his assessment was that he come and asked for. If it's $20,000 more that covers that, I'm fine. I just didn't want to
Yeah,
limit
it's,
it.
That's the reason I was gonna ask if we had any questions before we had a motion.
Okay,
So now,
I'm sorry.
go ahead, you redo your motion there.
Make a motion to move forward on the safety equipment not to exceed 20,000 and as listed.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Number 4, consideration of purchase of an animal shelter vehicle.
Commissioners, you have several quotes in front of you for an animal shelter vehicle. George has requested one with an 8-foot bed. He does have the dog container at Public Works, so he does not have to purchase that one. We do have a diesel and gas vehicle listed. Staff recommends if you go with a diesel, we go with Countryside CDJR for a 2024 Ram 2500, Tradesman for $60,000. If we go with a gasoline engine, staff recommends John Miguel Ford 2024 Ford F350 4x4 crew cab long bed, $50,847.
Is there any questions before we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the, gas F-350 from Legal Ford for $50,847.
That sounds good. Do I have a second? I'll second. All in favor? Thank you. All right, number 5, approval of proposal to remove fuel farm in Manchester.
Commissioners, this has been lingering around for well before I got here. There's a fuel farm in Manchester that has been abandoned. It was a joint agreement between Manchester and the county to use the fuel farm. In the contract, and legal has reviewed it, it is up to the county to remove and completely close down the fuel farm. The quote on that from Advanced Environmental Management to completely close and remove everything is $33,564. Staff recommends approval with a quote, with the fund source being from the general government line item.
And since it was a joint thing, Manchester doesn't need to help.
The way the contract was written per legal, it falls solely on the county.
When they did that fuel farm in Manchester, didn't they also do this one right across the street? Because I think that's what I read when I read that stuff. They did 2 of them.
That could be the case. We focus only on the Manchester ones
But we don't,
from our
well,
research.
Manchester just wanting us to remove theirs.
Great, and we have a letter from the city
Do we need to
manager.
also remove this one over here? We don't use it.
We probably need to look at it, of removing it.
But does that cost for both of them or just Manchester?
Just Manchester.
Just Manchester.
And this was a request from Mark Pulliam from March 28th of 2023.
I mean, we don't have to remove ours, but we gotta do Manchester.
Okay. If there's no questions, do I have a motion?
You gonna make a motion?
I make a motion to remove the fuel farm at Manchester, not to exceed $33,564. Paid for by what?
At our general government.
General fund.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Number 6, approved quote for the Forest Road Tower equipment damage from the tornado 2023.
Commissioners, this is approved a quote that we got from Dean's Commercial Two-Way for $124,223.50 to replace the VHF antenna system and one microwave system that was destroyed on Forest Road Tower. The tower is rebuilt. We did get an ACCG paid claim amount of $118,901.25, so we'll use those funds to cover the bulk of the purchase. The additional $5,322.25 will come from the communication budget. Staff recommends approval of the quote.
I make a motion for us to move forward and pay this $5,322.25 from communications budget.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Approval of a quote and enter into agreement, ACCG First Responder PTSD Program, and allow chairman to sign the resolution.
Mr. Chairman, this one is, and Commissioners, due to House Bill 451 that was passed for PTSD, this is a bill mandating all public entities that have employed or volunteer first responders providing lump sum or income replacement, long-term disability for PTSD benefits as effective January 1st, 2025. Legal has reviewed all the documents and everything looks good in order. The cost for the quote was $21,639. It would limit first responders to a lifetime benefit of $3,000 mandated limit. PTSD disability for employee first-time responders limit of 60%. Max benefit per responder $5,000. The volunteer monthly benefit per responder would be $1,500. Staff recommends enter into this agreement with the chairman to sign and approve the quote for $21,639.
As well as sign the resolution.
Yeah, well, sign the resolution.
All right, if there's no questions or concerns, do I have a motion to move forward?
I'll make the motion to enter into the agreement with ACCG for the first responder and with a quote of $21,639 and for the chairman to sign and be paid from the general government.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor? Thank you.
And the resolution.
And the resolution.
Number 8, 2025 LMIG application, consideration of project list.
Commissioners, staff recommends we table this until January 6th, so the new commissioner, Ms. Jennifer Snelson, can be on board and pick the roads, and we have until February to decide on which road, or to submit the application, but we do need to select the roads in January on what needs to be included in 2025 LMIG.
So we don't have to make a motion.
Can we work to have the list of roads by the last meeting of December?
Yes, sir.
Because
I hear what
every year
you-
this turns into a long conversation back and forth about what road. We don't need to wait to January 6th, and then we got one final meeting at the end of January to get all this done and submitted for a February deadline.
I think the issue is we have part-time employees doing that, so I don't know what their schedule would be, and I don't know.
We would have to get with Bill and Public Works to try to compile
That's
this.
another issue right there that I'm really not concerned with, and that we need executive session for later on.
Yes, sir. And
That's not an acceptable reason.
Not to run a county. He was gonna start this a while back, so we just need to get it. So we just need to let whoever's overdoing this, we need it done by then.
Yes, sir.
When does it have to be submitted by?
February 28th.
February 28th? And surely we're not gonna get with less than 10 miles of road.
You won't even get that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Historically, it's been about 800,000 we
It's not gonna be a long
received.
project to figure out which roads we're gonna do.
I think the number one thing in coming off the board and all is gonna be an agreement that, are you going to dedicate all your funding to one road? And what happened is, and I'm about to say it publicly and all, and this is something Jennifer will have to deal with and all, but, District 2 didn't get any of the big money. I mean, and we've got roads that need work, and every time I bring it up.
Well, I mean, ever since I've been here, the only thing we've done.
Roads that need water.
What
is that?
Since I've been here, it's all been on.
Luthersville Road?
Luthersville Road.
Okay,
Right.
sorry.
I didn't start that project. Who started that?
What you gotta consider, depending on how
But I
much
mean,
you're
it
getting,
shouldn't
I understand you don't wanna
It
put it all
shouldn't
on
be
one
hard to
road.
figure out which roads. I mean, I don't
It
care if I
shouldn't
don't
be.
get no funding this time, but maybe what the board needs to do is look at other options, like maybe taking out some kind of bond or something to get more roads paved, because they keep just going up.
Well, the problem is you're gonna always have road problems. I'll go to my grave
Yeah,
with
but
it, with having road
if you're not
problems.
doing but 8 miles a year out of 200 miles, you're gonna certainly have road problems. And 10 years ago, you probably could get a road paid for half of what you get it paid for now.
And the other thing you
So
need
if
to
we'd
look
have taken out a bond 10 years ago and resurfaced 30 or 40 miles of road, we wouldn't be in this shape maybe. I don't know, we need to look at, maybe John, our interim administrator, can figure some of this out for us.
See why we need the data as early as possible, because
Yes,
we're
sir.
not even talking about it, and we're already, yeah.
I know that
So-
I know in the past, we have asked the commissioners to give some,
Get their list of
give
roads
some of their
that's needed.
roads that they want to.
I will work with Public Works and Bill Cawthorn to identify the most needed roads in the county and bring a list back to the commissioners as quickly as possible.
I mean, in my opinion, at least, we need to go based off of last year's data. I mean, Commissioner Plant's point is also important, that how many of those have gotten worse since in the last 12 months?
Right.
But if we can't get staff recommendations on current assessment, then we have to go, we need the data by the end of December to look at, well, where do we leave off at? And then with our own recommendations and start getting a plan together. It's gonna take us 3 or 4 meetings to get to where 3 of the 5 will probably vote on something.
and
Commissioner, I can tell you, if I personally have to drive the roads that are on the list, I would drive those roads and give you an assessment of those roads.
And now in response to Ms. Plant's comment there, like, all of it gets put on one road. It depends on how much we're getting, because if you have a road that's bad, you can't just sit there and go, well, we'll do 200 yards here, 200 yards here, and 200 yards here, so everybody feels like they're getting something. If it will get one road out of the way, check it off and move on, it's not a matter of whose district or what, it's a matter of how much money we're gonna get. Then you determine, what you're gonna do, but you can't just split it up. If you got a road over here, it can be completely done with just a set amount of money. You don't wanna sit there and say, well, let's just do half of it because we gotta do,
I mean,
it's
if you
just
think,
half.
if you think of Coleman Creek Circle, if you do that, that's all you're gonna do.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but that's why we're gonna get GDOT involved.
Yes.
And the legislator involved.
And I will get, like I said, I will get that road list together if I gotta go out and drive the roads myself and give you an assessment of them.
Well, I've got a call into Randy, so.
So there's no action to be taken on this, right? Tabling something that's not
Just-
even on the agenda.
This is on the agenda to be tabled until January 6th.
Right.
Staff recommends tabling.
Okay. Number 9, approval for RFP for commercial.
Hold on.
Oh, what?
Staff recommends to table it till January 6th.
I'll make a
But it needs to
motion,
be a motion on that.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'll make a motion that we table the 2025 LMIG application to January 6th, 2025 meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Number 9, approval for the RFP for the commercial revaluation.
Yes, sir, Commissioners. The next 3 items are RFPs for all the tax assessors. These are all budgeted items. The first one is the commercial revaluation. The Tax Assessors Board has approved all 3 RFPs that are on the agenda tonight. Staff recommends that we approve this RFP and have legal review so we can advertise and get it out for bid. And this will revalue all the commercial property in
Put them
Marion
all
County.
together.
No, and-
Yeah,
If there's no discussion, do I have a motion to approve the RFP for commercial
Well,
revaluation?
there's a little bit of a discussion. This is what we approved in the budget. The cost of this is already been
Yes, sir.
approved in the budget.
This is under countywide commercial revaluation.
Okay. What were you asking them?
Oh, I just wondered if we put 9, 10, and 11 all in one
But it
motion.
needs to be documented on the record. So we can just go down real quick. If there's no other questions, do I have a motion to approve the RFP for commercial evaluation?
So
Pending
moved.
legal review.
That-
Pending legal review.
So moved.
I got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Now, number 10, approval for the RFP for updating residential cost tables.
Commissioner, this is to update the residential cost table so we can get a fair assessment on any upgrades to any residential property in Meriwether County. And the Tax Assessors Board has approved this RFP as well. So we just ask that this RFP be approved pending legal review as well.
Any discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve pending legal review.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Number 11, approval for the RFP for the countywide aerial flight.
Commissioner, this is for the countywide aerial flight that is a budget item. It's a 3-year, from our cost estimate, it's probably gonna be a 3-year project over a span, but it would capture aerial photos of the whole entire county. So if you were trying to hide personal property, this will pick it up. Or they could tell there's a structure out there, the assessors will be able to go out there and assess it, and everybody will get their property assessed the same. And Tax Assessors Board has approved it, and staff recommends approval as well, pending a legal review.
I'll make a motion to approve pending legal review.
I got a motion?
Second.
A second, all in favor? Thank you. Discussion of King Creek Bridge.
Commissioners, the Cane Creek Bridge, and Bill Cawthorn wrote this article or this narrative. The bridge structure was closed by GDOT. The county has been communicating with CSX Railroad about the possibility of putting in an on-grade crossing and the county having to remove the bridge. Putting in an on-grade crossing and removing the old bridge would cost at least $350,000. There are two property owners that have property on the other side of the bridge. One property owner has a second access. One property owner does not have access to the property at all. Another option would be to contract out the repairs, get it re-inspected by GDOT. We estimate this cost to be $100,000.
Yeah, this
$100,000.
This has been going on for some time. That road's been closed. That landowner and taxpayer has not had access to go back to the backside of his property for what, over a year now? 2 years? How long has it been since they closed it?
About 6, 7 months.
Because about the first of the year. Anyhow, he can't go back there with equipment, cut hay, good on the property.
Yeah, there's no
They can't
discussion.
go back there, period.
So
You know?
we approve it, what are you asking us to approve, somebody to get RFP out?
Correct, to do an RFP out, and we can use LRA funds for the cost of this bridge.
What road is this
Get
on?
an RFP.
Oh, he's asking a question.
What road is this on?
It's, right there in front of, Millarden. It's that road, you turn right, it just goes through the Millarden Farms and it goes down to another farm and that's it.
No houses.
There's no house, there's two landowners.
Right there by the silos?
Yeah, no houses.
Yes.
Only thing it is that man access his property.
And that's a county road?
It's a county road, it's never been closed.
So even if we want to consider closing, so we don't have to ever address this again, we still have to fix the bridge first, because dealing with CSX and GDOT. Because the landowners have no access.
Okay.
It's kind of one of those catch-22s that we're stuck having to fix.
Go ahead with your motion.
I mean, I've just been down that road as a teenager, as a dirt road, won't go ride, and get stopped and told I couldn't be down there. It was private property for years. And then now to sit here and have to approve spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on it to fix it.
He was a kid riding them road, and he told you something wrong, so we
But
didn't go around.
that was probably when Flint Land and Cattle owned it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It actually goes all the way through, well, you know, it goes all the way through out there
Gonna
to,
find
Church,
out how much
something
it's
Church
gonna
Road.
cost.
Correct, we're just gonna issue that, staff just recommends
We're not
the,
authorizing the work done yet. We
to
just
do an
wanna see
RFP.
what- Huh?
to put out an RFP for the work.
Yeah, I make a motion to put out an RFP to, on Cane Creek Bridge.
All right, I second it.
All in favor? Thank you. Lake Meriwether raised RV site rental price from $30 per day to $35 per day.
Commissioner is basically right there in the agenda item itself, just to raise the rental rate for the RV from $30 to $35. Staff recommends approval.
I make a motion to raise the rate as presented.
Yes, motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Number 14, Lake Meriwether, approved rule to set maximum tent camping stay to 14 days.
Commissioner, right now it's 30 days. Staff is recommending, and with the Lake Advisory Board, that we change it to 14 days of consecutive renting with a 7-day break before you're able to rent again.
I make a motion to approve as, okay, you got a question?
When you say staff, is that, or is that from the
From the
Lake
advisory
Meriwether
board.
Board?
Both.
Yeah, okay, yeah, go ahead, sir.
I make a motion to approve it as presented.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All in favor?
He's
Oh, you
abstaining.
can,
He's abstaining.
that's right, that's right. All right. Report from the county administrator.
I'm gonna make it pretty quick.
Real quick.
On behalf of the staff in Meriwether County, I want to say thank y'all for the Thanksgiving luncheon. It was very successful. All the employees were able to socialize and have an enjoyable, good time, and they were appreciative of the annual bonus. So they would like to say thank you to the commissioners for allowing that. Like I said, the fire department took possession of one Coweta fire truck. They're looking to take the other two in the next couple of weeks as soon as they have everything ready. Attended a department head meeting, the Lake Advisory Board meeting, the mayor's collaborative meeting in Warren Springs, the elections meeting regarding the RFP for Woodbury Highway Building B that is going out on advertisement on Thursday, December 5th, and again on December 12th. So we are putting that out for advertisement to get that Met with Terracon at the courthouse. All public works vehicles have been sold. We are contacting the bidders to get arrangements to have those vehicles removed. So putting back out for bid did work. We did get them all sold. The airport road, entrance road project is underway. For grant writing, I'm gonna reach out to Three Rivers Commission and see if they can offer any assistance. Worked on the RFP with the tax assessor, and I visited several roads and areas that citizens had questions about, and I'll finish reaching out to them tomorrow before the holiday. And just like to wish the staff and the commissioners a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
Report from county commissioners. Commissioner Woodley?
I'd like to thank everyone for the job they do and appreciate everyone that's involved and hope everyone has a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Ms. Rhodes?
I was just gonna congratulate Miss Jennifer on her, representing District 2 and look forward to, seeing you sit in this seat. So, best wishes on everything. I want to remind everyone about the Greenville Christmas activities that's going on at the courthouse, and, trees look good, they really do. With that being said, activities will start around 1 o'clock, and the tree lighting, and, I know all the commissioners got an invitation, but will be at 5. So, and I believe all the trees are decorated now, or most of them anyway.
I know they all have lights.
They all have lights, okay, that's good. And I just wanted to wish everyone a warm and happy Thanksgiving. And I just want to say this from a personal standpoint. There's a lot to be thankful for, and with that being said, I know it's been a long meeting and all, but I have enjoyed working with everybody, and I know that it was a good turnout for the employee luncheon, and with that being said, it was most appreciated. So, thank you.
Mr. Collins?
I just like to thank all the staff and employees for what they're doing, and I just like to tell everybody have a happy and safe Thanksgiving, and congratulations, Miss Jennifer Smith. Thank you.
Same here. Appreciate everything you've been doing. You've been putting some extra hours and time and getting things back to back, and got another meeting here in less than 2 weeks, isn't it? December 9th.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it's the way it's falling there. Y'all got your hands cut out for you, but yeah, same thing. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody, all the staff, and especially the citizens of Meriwether County, and I hope they have a blessed holiday time with their family, and that's all I got. Anything from the county attorney?
Happy Thanksgiving.
That's good. And do we have reason for executive session?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, for personnel and real estate.
All right, so do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Before you go to executive session, Mr. Chairman, based off legal's advice, the newly elected commissioner, Ms. Nelson, is welcome to join executive session at the pleasure of the board.
Be glad.
Absolutely.
Depends on what real estate we talk about, because at some point, none of the executive session privileges are good until you've been sworn in, and she hasn't been sworn in. So it may be an item that comes up, we may ask her to leave.
I didn't know that. They said that, ACCG said that once she's a commissioner-elect, she could be in there because she has to understand from council that what it says in there
You're allowed
stays in
to
there.
invite anybody you deem necessary to your executive session discussion into executive session. I think what Commissioner Worsley is saying is that he's concerned with potential privilege being violated, so if that's.
I don't think she would, I'm just trying to be responsible.
Right, correct. So you would still have the ability to ask her to leave because she is not yet bound by those executive.
Okay. Makes sense.
Session.
But I think we'll be fine. All right, so motion to go into executive session?
I make a motion during executive session, personnel and
Real estate.
real estate.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? We are now in executive session, 8:41. There's no action taken in executive session. So unless there's somebody else got something they want to bring up or talk about.
I'll make a motion with adjourn.
I second that one. All in favor? Thank you. We're adjourned.
I think you signed.